Welcome in, McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Glad you're with us. It is Tuesday, July 8th, right here on Jox 94.5. Glad you're able to tune in this morning live on YouTube. If you want to watch there, we're live there every morning. Also, you can grab the app in the App Store, iPhone, Android, download it for free. Greg is at Big 12 Media Days, ready to get that thing cranked up and get it going. What excites you most about being there? What are you most intrigued to see today from Big 12 Media Days?
Look, you and I have done a bunch of media days, have we not? I mean, you've been to the SEC, I don't know, 20 times probably, thereabouts, more, maybe, I don't even know. I've been to the SEC, the ACC, the Big Ten, the Pac-12 back in its day. You've been to a bunch of these, and the Big 12 just does it right, man. Like, they really do. Just first class. Great access, whatever you want, any player you want, whatever question you want, how long you want them for. As long as you want them, hey, can you do a breakdown of their tape? Done. How about you pull these 3 plays and we get a telestrator and we just talk through it? Done. It's like they just do it right. And it's cool. Now, I think they have to be that way to an extent because the importance of making sure that their brand is front and center and prominent, but it's a first-class organization, and it's run extremely well. So I'm excited to see all the players, excited to see all the teams, excited to have the access we're going to have.
I was interested when I was looking at some of the players that are going to be there. Today at Big 12 Media Days, you're going to get Arizona State, Baylor, BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, Iowa State, Kansas State, Texas Tech. Tomorrow you'll get Arizona, Colorado, Houston. You will get Oklahoma State, TCU, Kansas, West Virginia, Utah. The only teams not bringing quarterbacks, West Virginia, Oklahoma State, Houston, UCF, BYU. I think BYU, we understand the circumstances there, and we know why they're not going to have a quarterback. But something that I don't think I've ever seen at a media day in my entire life, at any media days, which is any league ever, Colorado is going to have Juju Lewis and Caden Salter representing them tomorrow at Big 12 Media Days. I've never seen a team bring 2 quarterbacks to a media days, and I kind of like it. I think it's cool. I don't know exactly what it does to the 2 individually, what it does to the media as far as where they are from a quarterback race perspective, but it definitely adds some intrigue. And as Coach Prime has been very good at for a long time, he's going to get people talking about his program just for this, I would believe, G-Mac.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I don't know this for sure, but I think it was encouraged from the league's office to bring quarterbacks. I think Deion just took that literally. Quarterbacks. I think it's kind of wild. I've never seen it before. I guess in the midst of a competition, it makes sense. If you're not sure which direction it's going to go, it makes sense. Juju Lewis is obviously super talented and might very well push for the starting job, but to have a true freshman at media days is intriguing. We don't see that very often. That, I think, is extremely rare. But let's be real. I mean, I know this sounds terrible, but who do you want to hear from at media days? Because God's honest truth, and I have tons of respect for the position, and I have tons of respect for the importance of the position. But I don't want to hear from your punter. I don't care. I don't think anyone else does either. If you want to promote your program, promote the guys that can actually promote your program. And I think those guys are the quarterbacks. And as much as the game has changed, and while the left guard is important, and we love the left guard, and we think it's great to have the outside linebacker there, it's all great. But let's be real. The guys that are front and center of your program are your quarterback. And it's been that way for as long as time has been around. So I think it's smart of the league. Because I think you got a better chance of having some viral clips if your quarterbacks are the ones that are actually making the comments. And I think it's great to have access to guys that will be in the midst of a competition. It's unique.
And I think that's kind of the story of this league going into the season. It has to be. I mean, there was a couple individually with different teams and maybe what they could extend to be. But you look at the quarterbacks that are going to be coming back in this league, and they're going to allow certain teams to maybe be better than people believe or they're getting credit for right now. I mean, you got Noah Fafita is going to be there for Arizona. He's got 782 career pass attempts. Rocco Beck's a young man that we've talked about a lot on this show. I think he has a chance to be one of the best quarterbacks in college football this year. Avery Johnson, highly sought after in the portal. Rumors floating around about him. He'll be back at Kansas State. We've talked about Sawyer Robertson here because he's going to be opening up against Auburn. Baylor quarterback Sam Leavitt had his team in the playoffs last year, and I know a lot of people believe that was Scadaboo, but he did a lot of the work. Jalen Daniels has been on Heisman lists in previous years. Josh Hoover, not a 4,000-yard passer, will be there for TCU. A guy's had a ton of success, threw for over 3,000 a year ago. And then Devin Dampier transferring into Utah, who statistically had a monster season a year ago. That's not real different than Big 12, but quarterback's kind of the big story again, I would imagine, Greg, as far as why some of these teams are going to be interesting and why some of these teams are going to be able to extend past what a lot of other people believe.
Well, I think the Big 12 has long been considered a quarterback-driven league. I don't think it's that anymore. I think it's a little bit more line of scrimmage than people want to pay attention to. That's not necessarily sexy, but I still think it's true. I mean, it's not the days of the air raid race to 50. The Big 12 has really evolved, probably more so than almost any other league, with what they've kind of come back to earth doing. And it's kind of a line of scrimmage, defensive-oriented league in some ways. I mean, you look at the teams that were competing for the championship last year. Arizona State obviously has a great quarterback last year, great running back, great receiver, some good pieces on defense. But for the most part, like, they were solid along the line of scrimmage. Like, that's why they were where they were. Iowa State in the same spot. They've long been good along both lines of scrimmage, good tight ends, things like that. They had a couple good wideouts last year, but Iowa State traditionally has been a very balanced pro-style attack. Kansas State has been that way for a very long time. Oklahoma State's a couple years removed from going to the Big 12 title with an outstanding run game featuring the Doak Walker Award winner, Ollie Gordon. So, I mean, it's kind of wild how the league has evolved, where, yes, having great quarterbacks, and I think there's plenty in this league, is very, very important. But I think that this league is really kind of dominated now by the offensive and defensive lines. That's why I think last year Utah's struggles were so surprising, but not really that surprising to see a team like BYU reel off 9 wins. You know what I mean? So it'll be curious to see where it goes from here.
What do you make of no media poll for the Big 12 this year, and what's sort of the sentiment been from some of the people there going to be around it as to kind of how, why? Is it viewed as a good move? Is it viewed as a necessary move for whatever reason? What's the thought process as to, and then the reaction from them not having that media poll this year?
Well, because I think the media poll is ridiculous, first and foremost. I've never not one time participated in the media poll at SEC Media Days or any other media day that I've been a part of. Not one time have I ever participated in it. Why? Because why would I put my name to something that's a complete guess and speculation, especially at this point of the season? Charles Jagusah broke his arm last week. That could change my opinions on Notre Dame. We're too far away from it. We lock our picks in the Wednesday before first week of the season, so we take our time on these things, and we should, because your reputation's at stake and accuracy is important. I think the media polls are always dumb, and Arizona State last year was picked to finish 15th, and they went on to win the league. So I don't think that's good for the league, because that constant, like, oh, well, they were picked to finish 15th, that storyline throughout the season resonated. And did it give Arizona State a bit of an edge? Yeah, absolutely it did. But it also maybe hurt the bottom line, because no one paid attention to Arizona State until week 8, week 9, week 10. So I think a media poll creates a little bit of buzz here in July. Great. But it could kind of cut off your nose to spite your face by discrediting a really good team early in the season, and it might take the public a little too long to get on board, and as a result, your ratings suffer. So I don't like the preseason polls, never have. It's a necessary evil to create interest. I'm great with that. But if you don't have to do it within your league, don't do it.
Yeah, it does give some of the media a chance to feel like they're more of a part of it, I guess, and more part of the league and involved, I guess have their say, so to speak. But either way, I don't think a lot of people look at it and say, well, I think it's more for the end of the season where people look at it and say, well, yeah, they were picked last in, the conference standings going in, or this was a team that was finished next to last, and then they're a cool story because they're in the conference championship game. Outside of that, I don't know how meaningful it is, or how much we need it, or how much we look at it and say, oh, well, thankfully we got this media poll because now we know what to think of our teams heading into this season. But it is another way to get different noise generated around your conference. another way for coaches to kind of have some fun with it at times. So that can generate conversations and bring more attention to your league. So it's some people mad about it. Some people think it's a good decision. Some people just kind of don't really care about what it is. Specifically today, Arizona State, Baylor. I know Baylor going to be important for a lot of people here because they open up with Auburn. BYU, UCF, Cincinnati, Iowa State, K-State, Texas Tech. Is there a team that you feel like there are questions to be answered that you will get some of those questions answered today with the teams that are going to be in attendance?
I'm definitely curious about BYU. They'll be here today. It's not. I don't really want to hear about Jake Retzlaff and his legal troubles and his transfer. I just want to hear what's next. Like, I don't want to talk about should he have to transfer it's an accusation, innocent until I don't want to hear about that. I don't care about that. In my opinion, he's gone. What's next? So I'm real curious about that. That to me is very intriguing. I really want to talk to Dave Aranda about the finish from last year. How do you carry over momentum from one year to the next? I think that's a challenge. Obviously, they lost their bowl game, but reel off after a 2-4 start, 6 straight wins to finish the season is no small task. So I'll be curious to kind of get his take on that. Scott Frost is back in the league. Obviously, back at UCF, not back in the league. When he left UCF, they were part of the American. What's his plan for the future for UCF? So I think UCF's really interesting, by the way. Not necessarily going to be super sexy nationally, but I've always viewed that program as a program with great upside. And if in time, when they're such a young school, they don't have money with dust on it. So that's it's not, they don't have the old money. So I think that makes it challenging for them to be competitive in a money-driven world. But I still think that with their access to talent, where they are, there's a lot of parts of UCF that can be very appealing. And then, of course, the defending champs. Andy Dillingham, they bring everybody back for the most part. What's the next step look like for them? So I got to visit with him briefly last night. Such a good dude. Really happy for his success at 34 years old. And I think this league, and I said this on the radio yesterday, Cole, I think this league is, from top to bottom, the most entertaining league because every game matters, because the gap between the best team and the worst team is as small in this league as it is in any other league. And that's what I think makes it really compelling. It becomes very situational football. It becomes very style-based. It becomes very home and away. So I'm kind of looking forward to hearing how they handle that, too, because the gap is just not very wide.
Did you say their money doesn't have dust on it?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. First time I've heard that saying. I like it, though. I feel like
no. You can have that one. That's a good one. Like, their money's new. Instead of saying new money, everyone can say that. But, like, when you say your money don't have dust on it, that means, that's the more appropriate way of saying it.
The money ain't been in the date.
The money ain't been traveled.
So are you, like, at a table and you have people setting up next to you, and they have no regard for what you're doing, and they're just yelling in the background and having their fun conversations while you're trying to do a radio show?
Yeah, I'm actually sitting at the Sports Illustrated table, so I've commandeered a table that's not even I don't even know, but
I did notice the swimsuit issues out. Saw it in the grocery store the other day.
That's I'm going to pass on that one. I'm not going to take the bait on that comment.
There's no bait to be taken. I'm just saying that is something that they still do. Like, they actually
I would normally
they
come
put
off
a
the
magazine
top rope
out. And I saw it on the shelf at the grocery store. I don't have one, but I saw it there.
If
like
you bought it,
11
it's
different
fine.
Covers.
Yeah, if you bought it, it's fine. That's great.
I feel like you guys all know the saying that I've quoted from my previous producer, Archie Shea, on why that's not necessary. We're not going to get into it on the air because I don't think the FCC would allow that, but I don't really need that. I don't think anybody else really does either. I'd be amazed to know how many they actually sold. Just from the perspective of, like, how many people feel like they need to buy that and look through it. I don't feel like it's very many, but that's just my opinion.
That's the one they decided to print? Everything else is digital, but this one.
The one they decided to print. Well,
yeah. I don't know. I can't speak to, what the Sports Illustrated situation is. All I know is they have 6 chairs, and I know darn well they don't have 6 people coming here.
Yeah, but if Colorado comes over there or TCU comes over there, they're going to have half a team of kids that are going to be there. Or if Arizona's bringing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids. So you're going to need all those chairs. Yeah, you're going to need all those chairs.
If you're interviewing 6 guys at a time on Radio Row, then I pity the fool.
What if the Arizona State AD shows up and says, "Here's all 6 of our players. Have fun. Good luck."
Yeah,
we got one mic, guys, so get ready to pass it around.
That's like when I dropped the kids off at the grandparents' house. Like, hey, here's the kids all jacked up, and I just need a little reprieve. Just go do a lap real quick.
You got my cell phone. And you just walk away. See ya. Good luck with that. I don't know who I would feel worse for, the grandparents or the kids at that point. Either way. All right, we're going to talk a little more Big 12 Media Days. Greg is in attendance there in Dallas or Arlington?
We're in Frisco.
Frisco. Sorry, golly. I can't.
We are in the...
No, I'm not a Dallas guy. I'm not a Texan when I don't know the counties to reference.
San Francisco?
Dallas-Fort Worth area.
Yeah. Well,
tell
I
that
can
guy
tell
we
you
can hear him. Just tell him. Say, we can hear you on the radio, sir.
I can't even hear him.
It's partially your fault because you wear the Bluetooth headphones, so nobody thinks you're really doing anything. If you had real headphones on, people would be like, that guy's important. He's got something going right now. They probably think you just finished your workout and left him in.
Yeah, that's what it is. Well, that's fine, too. There's a couple of amazing things that I figured out last night about Dallas. One in which I really need your reaction to. We're going to have all day to talk football, but I need the next segment to be about life for a moment because
good.
I am taken aback. I am taken aback by a recent trend that was on display last night here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area that left bars, restaurants, and where we're at right now, which is the new Dallas Cowboys facility where they practice called the Star. It's like beautiful, amazing in Frisco. And there were people lined up in folding chairs on the AstroTurf field outside. And I have to explain to you just how amazing this phenomenon was last night that I am just captivated by.
Okay. Tell our listeners about Polar Bear Services, and then we will do that.
All right, we will do it. Polar Bear Services is the best. I've had a great experience with Weston and the guys for years. They've taken great care of me. I know they'll take great care of you as well. They can do so many things for you around the house. That's what I appreciate. If I have a problem that goes wrong, the first person I call is Weston. Weston, can you fix it? The answer's never been no. Granted, I haven't asked him to do a couple things, but still, he can do just about anything around the house. That's why they're my go-to for my HVAC system. They're my go-to for electrical. They're my go-to for plumbing as well. Know that they've added that service. So if you have some problems with your electrical, plumbing, heat, or air, just pick up the phone and call the Bear. It's 205-497-BEAR. That's 497-BEAR.
Okay, Greg's going to take us to a new phenomenon in Dallas. I actually had planned to go one of these two directions, and I was going to let you guys choose. Maybe we get to that after Greg's story. We got Barry Tramel at 7:45 to talk Oklahoma, and obviously what's happening from an athletic director perspective there, maybe something going on with the team. Bud Elliott, his recent summer school edition on the Auburn Tigers, we'll discuss that at 9 with him. John Talty's got a write-up on Wisconsin and their new offense and maybe where they're going at CBS Sports. We'll talk to him at 9:30. My question for you two is going to be music or soccer? Which of those two would you like to dive into? We're going to have to wait on either one of those to hear Greg talk about folding chairs next on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. It is Tuesday, July the 8th, 7:22 a.m. Greg McElroy live at Big 12 Media Days. We will hear people loudly talking behind him as they set up their computers, notebooks, desks, pens, something or other. But before we get to all that, you have a folding chair phenomenon that is taking place that you would like to discuss on the show.
Oh, no, not a folding. I think that was a misrepresentation. But there were people outside of where we're at right now. I'm sitting in the Star, which is the Ford Center in Frisco, Texas. It's where the Cowboys practice. It's their facility, but inside of it is a full stadium where Frisco ISD plays, I believe, all their football games. Beautiful. To have a dome stadium is beautiful. Awesome. Anyways, there's an AstroTurf field out to the left. I don't know, probably 20, 30 yards. Kids running around, folding chairs, all this other stuff. Last night I land at DFW Airport around 7 o'clock. Go rent my car. Renting a car at DFW is never fun. But
you never rent a car either, by the way. That's big in and of itself.
I'm going to start. I don't like being landlocked in a place that's unfamiliar. I don't know Frisco. When I was growing up, Frisco was a bunch of fields. Like I'm not familiar with this terrain up here. So I rented a car, piece of cake, tollway, 30 minutes, no problem. You're right, though. I seldom rent a car. I get to the hotel around 7:30 or so, walk over to Mi Casino, which is a really good Mexican restaurant here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. One of my favorites. Had one in South Lake growing up. Had one in Dallas when we were living downtown. Like it's just a phenomenal restaurant. So I walked over there, got some home, familiar home food. There are women that outnumber men 10 to 1. The restaurant is absolutely packed. I can't figure out why it's so dang packed. I'm like, what's going on tonight? Because I walked past this AstroTurf field, and there's rows of chairs lined up, people watching, stuff. I walked by a place called the Concrete Cowboy, which is a second-floor bar, just a little bit closer to my hotel, but it's a bar. It's like a really fun bar. I don't know. I haven't been one in years, but it was interesting to say the least. Packed. Walk past another restaurant, packed. And I'm telling you, there are women everywhere. Heels, dresses. They look like they're going out to a nightclub. I'm like, what the heck is going on tonight? I'm so confused. So I get to Mi Casino, sit down, full table of women. There has to be 20 women at this one table by themselves. Whole bar is packed with women. I'm one of 5 guys in there. The other guy is Matt Berry. I'm like, this is wild. Anyways, I asked the waitress, I'm like, what is going on in Frisco? Is there a show? Is there a concert? Like, what am I missing? What is the deal? They're like, no, it's Love Island night. I go, Love Island, like the dirty version of The Bachelor, like that show, like The Bachelor in Paradise on steroids, that show, that's the one you're talking about? I'm like, yes. And she says, yes, that's the one I'm talking about. I said, okay, so what does that have to do with why everyone's all dressed up? He said, it's become a phenomenon in Dallas because all the women get dressed up and go to Love Island watch parties at restaurants, bars, big screens outside of the Ford Center and hang out and make it a huge night. And I was like, what? Have you ever heard of a Love Island watch party, Cole?
I've never heard of Love Island. So
the only reason I have is because I know my sister watched it there for a bit, and when Meredith needs some mindless television, she'll occasionally go there.
Okay. Yeah, no, I didn't know that, and a watch party at a restaurant for a reality show, so that means they got to put the volume on. So
no, they go to eat before. I don't know what time Love Island's on, but they go to eat before Love Island and then go to a watch party.
I get one of their homes or something.
I don't know. Movie theater. How would I know that? I didn't go to a watch party last night. I don't know what the heck Love Island is. All I know is that it looked like people were going to a Garth Brooks concert or I don't know. It looked like people were going to the club. 50-year-old women looked like they were going to the club.
Yeah, I've never heard of this. Never.
I've never in my life.
Wouldn't understand it.
I need some clarity.
Yeah, I don't really get it. I wouldn't know how or why we were doing that. But I do know that the watch party thing, be it other reality shows, whatever that is, I know there's been a bunch of those. I didn't know there was the get all dolled up to go out beforehand and then make a whole night of it. I have not heard of that. But John,
While I have not heard of a Love Island watch party, which it seems like the restaurant doesn't have it. Seems like the restaurant just has a pregame party. So people come out here to pregame and then just go home because you can't watch that show at the restaurant. It's also not surprising because they had watch parties or things like that, whatever, for Downton Abbey. So it's no surprise that trashy TV like this, that people are all about now. That's kind of obvious and also feels a bit sad for our society in America.
I mean, I do.
Well,
the watch
I'm
party,
fine with the watch party,
part
but
I get. Yeah, I just this whole
Totally.
like we're going to a concert and then beforehand.
Yes.
I'm not sure about that.
dressing up, putting on high heels and like tight dresses and like fancy clothes and like all your jewelry. I don't have a problem with the watch party.
There's
We used
a
to
lot
have
of
Game of
people
Thrones
though
watch
that
parties.
there's a lot of people though that they love just an excuse to get dressed up, look nice, and put their good gear on.
I just need to know like what's the appeal. Maybe there's a listener that can chime in on this
Probably
fascinating
one of ours, yeah.
experience. I need people. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening right now that attend Love Island watch parties. But maybe I'm just missing the boat.
Although given
Like,
your
even if we're
description,
going,
there might be
Well,
some
you
guys
think-
trying to visit some after this.
yeah. But I'm about to say, I mean, it was wild. I mean, like I can understand getting dressed up and doing an Academy Awards party once a year. We used to do that in Charlotte. Really fun. I would never participated in dressing up because I was like Jim on The Office. Like I'm not dressing up for anything. I don't do Halloween. It's just not my thing. It's fine
about a
if you're
bowl
into
game?
that. No, I don't often
Okay.
dress up in
Sorry.
pumpkins and or fried onions. But anyone that does, I'm great with. As long as I don't have to stand next to the person or sit next to the person on the plane home, because I would imagine that Pop-Tart costume probably didn't breathe very well. Just an assumption, don't know for sure. But I guess I'm missing the boat here. Like you get dressed up every Monday for like 12 straight weeks to go watch Love Island, where by the way, ironically enough, after doing a little due diligence last night, the people on Love Island are barely wearing bikinis. Like I don't understand. I think it was ironic that people would get dressed up for a basically Bachelor in Paradise where no one's wearing any clothes.
Do we know who a winner of this is? A previous winner, the winner last year?
Do
now?
you really win?
I
Do
don't know.
you really win?
I'm sure you can lose.
Well, you can lose a lot more than just the contest if there is one. I don't know for sure. But like I said from the beginning, unfamiliar with the Love Island phenomenon. I know what the show is. I've heard of it. I just didn't know it was a huge deal, to the point where thousands upon thousands of people were flocking to downtown Frisco around the Star to watch, celebrate, and drink on a Monday night and get dressed up on a Monday night to go watch people make out in a hot tub. I just need the explanation. That's all I need.
I don't think you're going to get one from listeners on this show, but we'll try to go a little bit further into it. So going down that path, I imagine we want to stay in the entertainment route, in the entertainment category, and go music instead of soccer here next for you guys.
Yeah, sure.
your vote.
I mean, yeah, we can go soccer. Let's go soccer.
I feel like we needed to go music to stay in the same genre, sort of.
Well, soccer's entertainment, music's entertainment. They're
He's
both
in-
the
he's in
same.
Frisco
Except
now.
soccer's growing faster than music.
Frisco's a big soccer town?
I mean, it must be.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's where FC Dallas plays.
Hell yeah. And you're on their field right now?
I don't know if they play here. I think they have their
I
own
doubt
stadium.
I doubt Gerald allows that.
No, I think he just allows
There's only one
Frisco
kind of football is
ISD.
played here.
High school and practice. That's all we do here.
Conference USA basketball.
All right, we're gonna go music because I think it's a more interesting conversation. There was a statement made on social media over the weekend that I need assistance with, and I want your opinions on. And it takes someone in the music industry right now and throws them into a category. It goes a little bit with our A-list or not conversations that we have sometimes, but throws them into a category / stratosphere that I did not know or was not sure they belong. and maybe we prove that they don't. We'll discuss it all next right here on McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We will get back to college football today. Greg is live from Big 12 Media Days. Where will your coverage be today? ESPN Plus.
I'm probably not the right one to ask. That feels right.
I think that's where it's been the last couple of years.
I think that's where it's been. We might have some linear support. I don't know exactly when. It might be being cut up and put into like an hour or 2 hour show. I have no idea. I really don't know. Sorry.
Okay, so
but Plus is safe bet.
So we're going to say we've been talking a little bit of reality TV, trash TV, some entertainment. This came across my screen over the weekend, and I just it really caught me off guard. And this maybe takes us into a conversation from an athlete perspective of who belongs in certain categories or who maybe fit those categories. Similar to what we talk about with A-list or not on the show sometimes, and it's a little bit to the country music world. Like, who would you say right now is the biggest star in country music?
Morgan Wallen.
Okay. Who would you say right now are the top 5 biggest stars in music, period? Top 3. Top 3, top 2, top 5. Like, who's the biggest musical artist on planet Earth right now?
Taylor Swift, by a mile.
Taylor Swift?
I say Drake.
Yeah, you're nuts. You're an idiot.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I do feel like it needs to be a little more mainstream to be
Are y'all serious?
the biggest in the world.
Like, it's Drake.
I wouldn't say in the world the number one.
Dude,
but-
Taylor Swift it just made over $1 billion in cash on her tour. Like, she is number one, and it's not close. I would say number 2 is still Beyonce, and then I would say number 3 is probably.
Drake.
Gosh, it's a tough one. No.
Yes, it is.
Well, okay. First off, you can't definitively say that. You don't know that. There's not a way to say it, so you
He's
can't.
in the conversation of talking.
That's fine.
Like,
That's a
without
different.
doubt.
That is
fun
a
of him,
different
that's why.
statement
No,
than
like-
that is a different statement than he is.
He is.
No. In my opinion, he is. There is the correct statement that we will allow you to say on this show. None of us can definitively say who it is. There is no number one definitively across the board. John?
I feel like right now, yeah, it's Beyonce and Taylor are 1 and 2. Most likely Taylor's up top, but I wouldn't argue if Beyonce's whatever. That's fine. Number 3, probably Ariana Grande, but that's not necessarily for music, but she's there.
She's in Wicked,
now.
right?
Yeah.
That helps a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. I was trying to think.
I would
way
probably
to,
still say, like, as far as like actual concert attendance, like, or are we saying like biggest?
No, there's no. Just the biggest musical star on earth right now is.
All right, I think the 3 biggest are Taylor Swift 1, Beyonce 2, Lady Gaga 3.
Okay.
Yeah, I was thinking either between her or Sabrina Carpenter.
Not there yet, but I like where you're going.
Okay.
She's on her way.
What is the way that we even can define this? Is there a way?
I think just fandom, like how like their star power. I mean, I think that if Lady Gaga announced tomorrow that she wanted to play in Jerry World on Friday night, it would be sold out in 3 hours.
I do think that's
Probably
one way.
less.
That's a way to describe it. Is that who, if they just did anything right now, is going to go insane, no matter what.
Yes.
No song, concert, whatever that is. All right. So I wish people, if you're
Beyonce
not
and
watching
Taylor
on
Swift are
YouTube right now,
audience,
you need to
so-
be watching on YouTube because Damien is legit dumbfounded. That the world does not agree that Drake is definitively the biggest musical artist on planet Earth. Like,
He's in
I
the
don't think I've ever
conversation.
seen the look on your face like it is right now before on this show. Nonetheless, here's why I bring you to this. Ryan Glasspiegel at Sports Report. He is a FOS media and entertainment reporter. He tweets out over the weekend, stray observation. I'm not sure that there would be a like in possession of observation
Right,
of
yeah,
or in custody observation, but his stray observation from Morgan Wallen concert. At one point in the show, he stopped to express gratitude for the tens of thousands of paying fans, thanking them for making it so he can live out his dream, saying he wished he could look into everyone's eyes. This actually impacts people. As a massive sports fan, like they paid money to come see me. As a massive sports fan, this was almost a foreign experience. It's extremely rare now that athletes even pretend to appreciate the fans. Wallen is probably the biggest music star in the world right now, this side of Taylor Swift and Beyonce. More people know who he is than almost any of these athletes. So it kind of stuck with me for a few days. So my question is, random Johnny or Susie walking down the street, can they name more professional athletes, or do they know who Morgan Wallen is first? And how many athletes would they know just off the top of their head ahead of Morgan Wallen? Because I'll just say right now, I understand his popularity. It's not my genre of music, which is fine. I'm not going to use that to say that he might not be one of the biggest stars on earth. If you showed me 3 photographs of 3 men right now, I don't know if I could pick out which one was him, honestly. I just don't. Now, if you put a picture of him in a cowboy hat and the other 2 guys were Latino and African American, I can probably pick them out.
I would hope so.
But like 3 similar looking dudes, I'm not going to know which one's Morgan Wallen. I don't.
Yeah.
I know his stuff, and I know some of the other reasons he made a name for himself. So, I mean, Greg, do you view Morgan Wallen as one of the top, we'll just say 5, because he gave you 2 others that he's going to say are at least in his top 5. A top 5 musical act in general on planet Earth right this second.
Not close. No. Resounding no. Biggest in country music, I agree with that. But that is extremely niche. Like, you have to cross over.
It's a big niche, though. I mean, it's big.
It is a big niche, but do you think they're consuming a lot? There's 3 billion people in Asia. How many people are streaming currently Morgan Wallen? As Morgan Wallen goes to Japan and Tokyo, is he selling out a stadium like Taylor Swift did 3 straight nights? The answer is absolutely not. If he goes to London, which, by the way, has a significant number of expats, is he selling out a stadium 3 straight nights? If he goes to Moscow,
who do they have? Like
is he selling out
and
a
Brady
stadium?
and Kevin Falk?
No, they got Vinatieri.
Adam Vinatieri's living there. Who else is living there? Willie McGinnis, Andre Tippett.
I think
Tom
you
Tupa?
said in the world. You said in the
Steve
world.
Grogan. I'm just asking, who are the expatriates that live in England? I need to know. Damian Woody.
No, that
Yes,
seems like more
all of
Wallen's
them.
crowd.
Yeah, Julian Edelman.
No, there's a lot more Jaguars living in London
Got it.
in preparation
Irving
for
Fryer?
their future move.
Ben Coates.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I got no answer for that.
Donta Hightower.
No.
Big London guy.
I just need to know the expats that are living there.
Malcolm Butler.
Maybe. All right. Sorry. Greg's mad at that one. I didn't mean to step on you.
I mean, I get it. It's a big meathead. It's a big meathead move, and I didn't hate it. It's on brand.
That's what we try to be here on the show.
it's honestly, we say some dumb things. It's up there in dumbness.
Yeah.
It's
Okay,
up
good.
there. Yeah.
That's what I'm here for, the dumb. Barry Tramel going to be with us next. We'll pick this conversation up at 8 and finish it. And speaking of on brand, we like to add value here on Jox. I'm going to introduce you to my friend and wealth advisor, Tad Hill, your trusted retirement planning partner. Tad is the co-host of the Retire with Freedom radio and TV shows in Birmingham and Huntsville. Also designated by Forbes as the #1 financial securities professional in the state of Alabama, multiple years running. Tad, what do you have for us today?
Okay, today is a topic that we've discussed before, but it's a pretty constant issue, and that is market volatility. And definitely the markets have been topsy-turvy for months in a row now. And if you're already retired or you're within 5 years of it, there's a thing called sequence of returns risk. And I can't go through all the math here. I can do that in our course or in a visit. But the bottom line is if you get poor returns early in your retirement, then you are at a much higher risk of running out of money. And our Retire with Freedom process is designed to help you build a plan to insulate you from that. We can help you. I would really encourage you to come to one of our courses or come in for a visit. And the way to do that is to text JOX at 205-988-0006. That's 205-988-0006. Text JOX, 205-988-0006.
This is a paid placement. Investment advisory services are made available through AE Wealth Management. For more information about Forbes rankings, visit Forbes.com.
We were on air yesterday when the news broke that Joe Castiglione is going to step down as the Oklahoma athletic director. Barry Tramel joins us now on the Higginbotham Hotline. He covers Oklahoma to give us his thoughts on it and then just kind of where this program is heading into SEC Media Days. Barry, always appreciate you being a part of the show. Thanks for hopping on today. Was this move, I know it was orchestrated between he and the athletic department, and he's going to stay on not only to help hire his replacement, but then in a different capacity after that. But still, did this move surprise you that he feels like it's time for him to move on and he will not continue as the Oklahoma AD after this athletic semester, season, year, whatever it is that he's going to step down in?
No, it wasn't terribly surprising. For one thing, Joe's 67 years old, been on the job 27 years. So anytime that's the case, you know he's not going to last forever. The other thing is we knew there were some conflicts. The change in leadership at Oklahoma combined with the change in college athletics that everybody knows all about. We knew there's some contentiousness in the leadership structure, the new chemistry in the university administration was not great between some of the parties, including President Joe Harris. I'm not saying we knew that. I discovered that in the last few days. So I know that it's always stunning when a guy that's that institutional, that's long-standing, steps aside. But lots of factors at work to make this come to fruition.
When you look at what his impact has been on the Oklahoma program and the influence that he's had for so many years, I mean, so many championships, softball, football, you name it, he's accomplished it. There's not really a whole lot left to accomplish. So you think this was kind of a point where he's like, the landscape is changing so significantly and maybe it's time to step aside knowing he's accomplished already so much? Like, what do you think actually led to the decision? Because he's a guy that loves to work. There's no denying that. It's just shocking to see him decide to step down.
Yeah, I think I have to admit, I don't know whether he decided to step down or they decided it was time to separate. I do not know that yet. I hope to find out sometime soon, but I don't know. I can tell you this. I think his wife sort of ready for him to slow down because, as you mentioned, he's a workaholic. I mean, I don't know how many times I've talked to him after 10 o'clock. I'll contact him, and we've always had a good relationship. He said, "I'll try to reach out to you if you need me. I'll try to reach you." 1:30, he'll say, "Hey, I can't talk right now, but I'll reach you when I'm through working," and he'll call after 10 o'clock. So he's burning the midnight oil, and I think that can wear on a guy. He's been so successful, not just leading the things people know about, but mentoring all kinds. He's got athletic directors all across the country sort of came up under him. Michael Alford at Florida State, Kirby Hocutt at Texas Tech, Zach Selman at Mississippi State, Keith Gill, the Sun Belt commissioner, who's a rising star. He was one of Joe's lieutenants at Oklahoma. So people like that all over college athletics, and he's one of the few guys that's served on both the basketball committee and the football selection committee. So his fingerprints are everywhere. And at some point, he needed to slow down, whether he believes that or not. We all need to. So I'm sort of happy for him because he's such an interesting guy. He can do a lot of things still. So I think he's headed for a bright future. But it's just going to be a stunning reversal of what he's so accustomed to.
We've got Barry Tramel joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline talking Oklahoma. What sort of direction do you see them going next? There's this new mindset of, well, you need the CEO in, you need the business background with where collegiate athletics is going. We've gotten away from the good old boy network and the guys that know how it's been done for 50 years, whatever it is. Is there a different maybe model of individual that you think Oklahoma would like to or want to bring in?
Well, I think there's a very good chance that what you say is going to happen, that a traditional athletic director will not be hired. It's possible that the Sooners will hire a guy who's basically runs the athletic department, but it's sort of independent of football, because football is going to become, so marginalized from the rest of the separated is a better word, from the rest of the athletic department. And, it's possible they have people already in place. One of the things that's been going on at OU for the last 2 years is a total restructure of the department and the athletic administration. Randall Stevenson, the retired chairman of AT&T, came on basically as an advisor, unpaid, but he's a very wealthy man, but a superstar in business for decades, and he's a guy that he's sort of overseeing all kinds of things now. That's a job that didn't exist 2 years ago. Got Jim Nagy as the new general manager the last 6 months, and so the football structure is different. And I think it's possible that the next AD will have less influence on football than what we're accustomed to, or that anybody's accustomed to until the last year or so.
When you describe that next AD and just kind of where Oklahoma is, we know pretty well where everybody is, but how is Oklahoma financially? Are they in good shape for what's coming with the $20 million deficit that now will hit the balance sheet here in the next couple months?
Well, the answer is no, they're not in good shape, and they're still ahead of almost everybody else. Now, I don't mean they're ahead of all but 2 or 3, but they're in good shape compared to most. I've read, you guys know way more about it than I would, but I've read that when Alabama is worried about money and Alabama needs more money, then everybody needs more money, right? So that's where we're at. Is there's never enough money. So there's really not a Yankees or a Dodgers or Lakers in the NCAA, a cash cow like that. And it's such a striking change, the onslaught of money necessary when you go from zero payroll or virtually none to 40 million or whatever it's going to end up being when you add in NIL with the cap. Everybody's going to have to struggle and find new revenue streams and raise prices and do all those things. So, but Oklahoma's in decent shape. I would say they're, with their SEC peers, they're not any better or worse than the upper tier of SEC teams. So that's not a terrible situation to be in, but it's not ideal.
Very great stuff. Thank you so much for hopping on today. Definitely appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you in Atlanta.
See you guys later.
Barry Tramel joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline, talking a little bit of Oklahoma there. And will be intriguing to see where they go next, because as we know, that athletic department is still new to the SEC. You got some new pieces around the football program, but I thought very intriguing there, Greg, of Barry saying new athletic director he would anticipate have less control of football moving forward.
It's crazy, man. And I could see it starting to get structured that way as well.
Wow. We'll talk more about that and get back to our conversation about the biggest musical act on planet Earth. And Damien's confusion just continues to mount as we don't allow it to be Drake on the show. Next, Mac and Cube. 46? Is that what that guy said?
Yep.
Oh, man.
6 weeks on Saturday.
It's so incredible how it used to be just jubilance and excitement. Please get here fast. And now it's like, I need more time. I need more days. That's too close. I'm not quite ready for that mentally and emotionally yet. Physically, not there. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Hour number 2 underway. Tuesday, July 8th, 8:01 right here on Jox. Greg is on site at Big 12 Media Days in Frisco, Texas at The Star. The Star.
The Star.
The Star.
Yes.
The Star.
The Star.
We were talking before we welcomed Barry Tramel on to discuss Oklahoma a little bit about music. We're going to get back to that in just a moment, but don't forget, listen online, joxfm.com. App is in your app store. You can go tune in there. And don't forget ever to tell your home smart speaker to enable the Jox skill and listen home that way.
Bill Smith Buick GMC is the GMC Dealer of the Year. They're the national champs of GMC dealers, and you'll see it for yourself. The second you walk in the door, see all those incredible trophies, 5 in a row. They've won the national championship of GMC dealers. You'll go, you'll walk in, you'll see what I'm talking about with the service and the savings that you can have. They are giving away 2026 model. These are Buick Encore GXs. 2026, $5,000 off the sticker. That's $29,985 is the list price. You can get it for under $25,000, walking out the door at $24,985. Andy Cole and Jonathan Yeager will make sure your experience is second to none. That's why 75% of their business is repeat customers. That's because you have a better experience when you shop with Bill Smith. So you can take the short drive up to Coleman. We're lucky to have them right in our own backyard. You can also shop online, have it delivered anywhere, right to your driveway at BillSmithBuickGMC.com.
It's an exciting morning there at the Star. A lot happening. A lot of things to be pumped up about.
They were rocking a second ago in the break. Y'all, they had the music turned up so loud I started to get a little anxious. I'm not going to lie, a little anxious.
I hope they bring it back.
It was aggressive. I mean, the amount of bass that's in these speakers that they have set up, it was rocking the table.
How else are you going to know?
A little concerned.
How else are you going to know if the Mac returns without all that bass?
There you go.
That's
okay,
true. That's a fair point.
We referenced this earlier in the show. We're going to continue this conversation now. 800-239-9569, 800-239-WJOX if you want to get in. Tweet in at Mac and Cube. Essentially, is Morgan Wallen a top 3, number 1, top 5 artist on planet Earth right now? Ryan Glasspiegel tweeted out, stray observation from Morgan Wallen concert. He thanked the fans, said he wants to look them in the eyes, blah, blah, blah. As a massive sports fans, athletes don't do this.
No-show at one point. Didn't Damien go to a no-show concert?
No, I saw him the night before he no-showed.
He no-showed in Oxford?
Oh, the
second night?
The second night. I got there Saturday.
Did he tell you how much he loved you and look in your eyes?
Not at all. Not at all.
He did with this show.
He's got more intimate with
To which Ryan
He must have seen Damien in the crowd and was like, yeah, I don't love this group. I don't love Damien. I don't love his friends. They're being way too obnoxious. They're partying too hard. Like, that's probably what's going on. He looked into the crowd audience that night and said, this is too rowdy. I got no time for him. I'm a nice, calm, relaxing guy after no showing the night before. Trying to get it all back on track.
These chairs aren't going to throw themselves.
He no-showed the first night or the second night?
No, second night. Second one. There's stories around about it. Wallen is probably the biggest music star in the world right now, and I guess he stopped himself and said, this side of Taylor Swift and Beyonce, more people know who he is than almost any of these athletes. Now, that in and of itself sounds a little...
it's aggressive.
Royal? These athletes.
These athletes.
The Jacksons and the Bradys and Jameses.
Right.
Get them out of here. So I just want to ask a question on the show. Do you think Morgan Wallen is more popular than any athlete on earth, number 1? Which we could probably name, if you wanted to count an F1 driver, and 5 soccer players would immediately be ahead of him. And I don't even know who they play for, their names, but I know they would be up there. So as far as athletes in the United States, in our major sports, are there any that are definitively ahead of him? I would say many. And I could probably come up with a fairly big list.
Yeah.
That would be that are
many.
more recognizable publicly everywhere than he is. But I will take you to the current Billboard Artist 100. Now, I don't know what PFF formula goes into this ranking. Because all they give you is weeks at number 1 and weeks on the chart. But I am going to give you our top 10, of which how many do you think you could get right now? Maybe a more fun question.
Gosh. Goodness gracious.
I'm going to go
Or-
out on a limb and say none of you could get more than 3.
I was thinking 3.
Damian probably has the best shot because we know Chingy is the greatest rapper alive. Greg McElroy is not going to get more than 3. Would you like to take your shot at 4 of the top 10 Billboard 100 artists currently? And Greg, you're welcome to take a shot if you'd like.
I mean, I'll try.
Morgan
Okay.
Wallen's definitely up.
Morgan Wallen is on the list. That would be 1.
Taylor Swift, she's still up there.
She's not on the current Billboard 100 artist list. I'm sure she's devastated. Top 10. She's on the list, but not top 10.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Is in the top 10. Yes.
Okay.
The Weeknd.
No.
Yeah.
Not in the top 10.
Billie Eilish.
Not in the top 10.
Kendrick.
Ed Sheeran.
Not in the top 10. I feel like I'm safely can say I was correct that nobody's going to get 4 of the top 10, considering we have whiffed on 3 of our guesses after we've gotten 2. Here's your current top 10.
Tate
No,
McRae.
I think we're old. That's all it is. 10, Shabuzi. I don't know if it's still the one song.
Oh yeah, he's.
Does he have another
big.
song?
He's cooking up.
What's the second song?
I mean,
He's Cooking Up. Is that the song?
No,
That sounds
no,
about
no.
like the avenue he'd go down.
More or less, right. Yeah, he knows his audience.
No. Good
What's
news
for
is-
dinner? He's cooking up.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Shabuzi's big. Like my 6-year-old son, loves a bar song
Right.
by Shabuzi. So he's big with the young
the
audience.
world likes that song.
It's a great song. It's a phenomenal song.
SZA would be 9.
Yeah.
Alex Warren would be 8. Playboy Cardi
Oh my God, he's terrible.
comes in at 7.
God,
Now, I'm going to be honest. I've heard of most of these, and I know kind of their work, what they do. Cat's Eye?
who?
Cat's Eye?
It must
It's
be
all
caps.
it's all caps.
Never heard.
Katseye. I don't have a single solitary
tell you.
clue. I don't know the
Not
genre.
one.
I don't, to be honest with you, I don't even know the gender.
Really?
No.
Never heard of him.
Her, it. Don't know.
No.
What?
Cat's Eye.
I don't have an eye. I don't know if it's hip hop, rap, country, pop, German, Latin. No idea.
It's a Korean girls group.
Probably
Oh, well.
tells you why. Right
Goodness
there.
gracious.
Not up on my Korean
Yeah,
pop.
no,
Number
too-
5
gotta
would
lock
be
in.
Serena Carpenter. Number 4, Benson Boone. Number 3, Kendrick Lamar. Number 2, Lord. And number 1, Morgan Wallen.
Lord is in the top 10.
2.
She's number 2.
She just dropped an
She's in
album.
the top 2.
Really?
Yeah.
By the way, weeks in the chart 92.
That's extremely low. She was hot for a time, but that was like a decade ago.
Morgan Wallen
I feel
won.
like I've
Weeks
seen
at
her
number
around
1
some.
is 1 and has been in the top 100 for 330 consecutive weeks. So some of this depends on how you look at it. Like, okay, you brought up Taylor Swift. She's 14 right now. She's been in the top 100 571 consecutive weeks.
Yeah.
That almost feels a little low. So yeah, I mean, different ways to look at it. The Weeknd was 12, by the way. Billie Eilish was 15. So you weren't too far off on a couple of those others. But first off, I'm hoping when we come back from our next break, we're getting Cat's Eye to bring us back.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Never-
take
never
listeners to
heard
this,
of him.
No.
Benson Boone. What's his song, Damien?
Couldn't tell you.
Resident country fan on the show. Don't act like
Prince
you're
East
not.
Country? I've never heard of him.
Based on his profile picture here, either that or a Gap model. One of the two.
Brinson.
Is Gap
Benson,
and
not
country music
Brinson.
synonymous?
He's in blue jeans and a white T-shirt with the sleeves rolled up. No cigarette pack in the sleeve though,
Oh no.
so he's not tough.
Oh no. Kids these days.
Oh, he's at that Beautiful Thing song. I hate that song. It's
Is it
terrible.
country?
No.
Oh,
It's like whatever pop is nowadays.
Alex Warren.
Ordinary. That's the only song I know. It's a
you're
love
saying he's
song.
just an ordinary guy? Like you,
I couldn't.
nothing
spot
sticks
him.
out with him. He's just ordinary.
Wouldn't know if I saw
Got
him.
it. Okay. So I asked the question again to the audience. You can tweet in, you can text in, 205-834-9450. Is Morgan Wallen more popular than every athlete in the United States? I might give you a college athlete that I think is more popular than him right now. And definitely two that just finished college. Well, did not graduate, but will not be attending college anymore. In Cooper Flagg and Shador Sanders. Maybe even Travis Hunter I'd put ahead of him. As far as being recognizable, okay, maybe not Shador.
Yeah, I think in the circle I get it, but I personally, like, I know what Morgan Wallen looks like, but if you were to scramble a bunch of frat bros with similar body types and similar attire, like,
And
you
that
put
wouldn't
them
be
all in the
would
same
not be
clothes,
difficult, by the way.
and you give me 10 guys and spread them out, and I have to notice them from 20 yards away, I'm not sure I can nail it.
I wouldn't.
Like, and I know what he looks like.
Like, do you think right now, Morgan Wallen, no facial hair, mustache, goatee, beard?
He sounds good.
Clean shaven and Conrad like a little bit bigger than porn stash.
He would look just like any other frat boy
Greg?
from Oxford, Mississippi.
What does he look like today?
Yeah, like, well, he kind of has had
No, it's like a shadow, like a 5 o'clock shadow type of feel.
Mustache.
Does have mustache. Does have facial
Mustache.
hair.
And he's got the mullet.
He's going mustache right now,
yes, but it's like
but
the
not
short
clean
mullet,
shaven mustache.
Yeah.
like the not
Yes.
way long, but it's like regular length hair, just kind of shaved on the side.
Respectable party in
Correct.
the back.
Yeah.
He's a poor man's Kenny Powers, is what he is. He couldn't grow out the way it needed to be grown
Right,
out,
yeah.
but he's kind of going for that look, which, hey,
Yeah.
it's obviously working. All right, we'll finish that conversation. 800-239-9569, you want to get in. Like, how many athletes immediately would you put ahead of him? LeBron's ahead of him. Steph Curry's ahead of him. Easy.
Yes.
Travis Kelce.
Peyton Manning, Tom Brady.
Travis Kelce's a
Jackson.
good one. He's moved ahead of him. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge.
Yes. Hell, I even say John Carlos Stanton ahead of him.
Depending on what category and how you wanted to go with this, Jake Paul. Whichever Paul's the better
Right,
boxer,
yeah.
I don't know the difference.
Yeah.
But the one who's actually pretty good at fighting
Yeah.
/ boxing / rigging fights
Yeah,
with
I
Mike
mean,
Tyson.
if we want to go into like the WWE world,
Oh, man, they're killing
like,
Well, but those are sanctioned boxing matches, so I feel like he
Yeah.
fits in that category now. Like, I would still put Floyd Mayweather ahead of him.
Yeah. Bank account, too.
And maybe I'm crazy and I'm just too sports bubbled up. I don't know. But like Greg brought up a great point earlier. Ability to cross over. That's when you become super different. And does he have that yet? Like,
No.
does the pop culture crowd follow Morgan Wallen and know who he is and love his stuff and whatever? And then the other point I thought Greg made a good point of was when they do something, is everybody showing up? Like, they drop a song, they put a video out, they sell concert tickets. Like, is it immediately like everybody's in? Because I think that's where you have the ultimate crossover appeal. I thought it was an
No.
interesting tweet because, like, saying he's immediately more popular than every athlete on earth,
No.
like, he's more popular than Shohei Ohtani.
No. Not even close. Not even close.
Like, that probably should
I
have
don't
been.
even
That
think-
should
I
have been
don't even
named
think
number
it's-
one, probably, by the way.
Right.
There's one player in the history of Major League Baseball that's hit 50 home runs and stolen 50 bases. His name is Shohei Ohtani. He plays in Los Angeles
Exactly.
and is from the Far East. Right this second. That is not even in the same galaxy.
Nope.
According to Ryan, it is. I just
No,
thought it'd be a fun
not
conversation.
even close. It's a great conversation, and I think, while in his bubble, and we have a tendency to look at this through like concentric circles, right? Like, in our bubble, sports is by far bigger than music for me. I love music. I listen to music. I mean, the amount of streams I have on my Spotify monthly is insane. Like, I love music. But sports is way bigger to me. Like, I could way easier pick out what Troy Aikman looks like than what Luke Combs looks like. Like, I know Luke Combs' music and can sing a lot of it word for word. Like, the only one that I think is really easy to pick out of a lineup is Jason Aldean. He just looks different than the rest of them. So he's pretty easy to pick out.
Tennessee
but a
whiskey
lot of
guy's
them are
pretty
kinda-
easy to pick out.
Chris Stapleton.
Yeah.
Stapleton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a
Oh,
unique,
yeah.
very unique look.
Yeah, I mean, you mean just like disheveled and like,
Yeah.
like, you know,
Homeless.
Yes, he's very easy to pick
But
out.
it
He's
works
got like
for
a
him.
Hank.
It does.
He's
Same.
got like a Hank Williams vibe, like a Hank Williams Jr. vibe for sure. So he would be easy as well. But I think as far as like if you were to clean cut everybody and it wasn't like part of their brand and you had to pick guys out of the lineup, like I could much easier pick out Randy Moss, Tom Brady, all the players in the NFL right now, long before I could pick out the run-of-the-mill country music star. Now, I could pick out some of those, like I could pick out Ed Sheeran, I could pick out Taylor Swift very easily. I could pick out, you know, all the rest of the musicians that transcend, that are like pop-centric. But I do feel like country is a little more generic, and it's a little bit tougher to kind of pick people out.
All right, I got a couple others that I feel like are easy yeses ahead of Morgan Wallen. We'll discuss those on the other side. First, I'll tell you about Game Day Men's Health. If you're looking to lose a little bit of weight, listen, summer is here, and sometimes we didn't get it done before the summer, so we want to get it done during or after the summer. They can help you get that weight off right now. They have multiple weight loss plans that they can help you with, and even the new peptides that they have in stock, which your body quits producing over time, they can also concoct those to where they're going to be able to assist you with weight loss. Here's what you need to do. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Go there right now. Sign up for the free consultation. It's free. They give you the free PSA test, the free testosterone test, let you know where your health is, then present the plans. And the good news is you save 10% on any of those plans by mentioning Mac and Cube in the morning. And there's minimal upfront cost for all the programs that they offer. Get the weight off today. Get it done right. Game Day Men's Health. It's easy. If you've had to go to the pool or the lake this year, go to the beach, you haven't liked what you've seen, Game Day Men's Health wants to help you get there. They can do it. Go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com today and see how they can help you. A couple more athletes that I think easily are ahead of Ryan Glasspiegel's number one, I guess, person on earth. Next, Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. We're going to get back into our conversation on most popular artist versus most popular sports person on earth. First, I want to drop this on you. The Mountain West has finalized an agreement with Grand Canyon for the school to join the league as a member this fall. It's a year earlier than people thought they were. They don't play football. They are expected to be added to Mountain West schedules for the 25-26 season. A private institution in Phoenix, Greg, with an enrollment of?
Big.
Good answer.
55,000.
55. John?
6,000.
Damien?
Like 17.
Over 100,000.
Unreal. I thought 55 was an aggressive guess.
How is Grand Canyon not dominating college football on an annual basis with over 100,000 people attending?
Because it's a commuter school, and a lot of those are online, which is perfectly fine.
Of
It's just
course,
I don't
we
know how
know
many
the
people
answer.
that go to online classes that are sitting there thinking, you know what? After my experience online at this school, I need to start writing some checks to their NIL department. Like, I don't know. I don't know if you have that same relationship with the school.
I can't remember who it was, but a couple years ago I saw a tweet from somebody saying, how is University of Phoenix not dominating college football every year with over whatever it is, 600,000 people that are enrolled?
Because they
every
just charge tuition. You just charge $1 for an athletic fee.
year. And you would be
Yeah.
Oh my God.
one of the richest athletic departments in the country. Like if
SMU
every
would be like, "Whoa,
class had
you
a
got money."
$5 athletic fee tag to it,
Oh my God.
and they have to have those classes to go do whatever they want to do.
Yep.
All of a sudden, Cade Klubnik, Jeremiah Smith, and Ryan Williams transfer to University of Phoenix on 1 year, $5 million deals, guaranteed. Whoops. All right, let's get back into our popular artists. You're going to have to wait for that conversation, Greg, but one thing you never have to wait for is your dental care.
That's because Family Care Dental has you taken care of to the urgent care office, where you can be seen the same day in several locations to make it easy on you. Hoover, Fultondale, Homewood, Alabaster, and Trustful. You can get in on Fridays and Saturdays. They're accepting patients of all ages, and most insurance plans are accepted. Call Family Care Dental today to schedule your appointment now. 874-9605. That's 874-9605.
We're referencing a tweet from over the weekend of Morgan Wallen. First off, an appreciation for him and how much he tells his fans that he loves them and wants to look in their eyes and thank them. But then also how popular he is right now, essentially placing him on a pedestal with Beyonce and Taylor Swift, and that's it as far as popularity goes. And then saying that he is far more popular than any athlete in this country. Now, I think it was fair. We said it earlier. I brought it up. Soccer, like Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe, yes, they're more popular. So if we're just going here, I do think there are a couple names that we left off that we immediately should have brought. Like Shohei should have been up there, one of the top 2 or 3 that we brought up. Tiger Woods should be on that list, correct?
Oh, yeah.
Is there anyone who thinks that Morgan Wallen is more popular than Tiger Woods?
No.
And I would still
I'm not
put
sure it's
Michael
close.
Jordan on the
I
list.
think it's.
No.
I think Morgan's definitely bigger than Tiger now, for sure.
Okay,
Not
so
even
I'm going to
close.
go kind of some yes/no with you guys. More popular, not as popular overall in this country than Morgan Wallen. Charles Barkley.
More.
Barkley.
He'd be close.
I would say more.
I'd
Yeah.
say
Shaq.
Shaq.
More.
More.
Okay. Luka Doncic.
I'd
Luka.
say more. 'Cause,
I think it's even.
He still got his.
Jokic.
I think it's even.
I mean, Jokic is pretty recognizable.
Giannis.
If you see a 7-footer on a
Yeah,
a
for
horse,
sure.
that's usually
Right,
a pretty
yeah.
good giveaway.
Giannis.
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 Yeah. He's a good bit more.
Okay. Like Neymar would obviously be ahead. Who would your F1 drivers be that were ahead if we went that direction?
Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton. But I don't know. I mean, I think Lando Norris is getting up there. But I
See,
don't know if he's quite there
There's
yet.
some interesting ones when you look at highest paid athletes. Like, I would say Jordan Love, no way. But I might almost give Trevor Lawrence a chance. And one reason would be how recognizable he is of a figure.
Yeah.
The hair.
Yeah.
I mean,
Especially with
national
the London
championship at
ties.
Clemson, and then starting quarterback in the NFL and one of the more recognizable faces in the NFL. And I'm not saying definitively, but I'm saying some of these guys I wouldn't actually give a chance. I would say, like Justin Herbert, I would say no way.
Right.
But I would say that Trevor Lawrence has a chance. What about this one? Greg, this is for you right now. Dak Prescott.
Ready?
He is the starting quarterback and has been for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, I would say Dak.
I would say Dak as well. John?
Significantly, Dak.
Josh Allen. 2 years ago, I would have said no way.
Correct.
Right.
Now, I actually think there's a good chance.
Over the last 3-4 months, especially, I think it's Josh Allen by a nose, but yes.
Okay, just barely, though.
Yes.
I'm going to throw a group of NBA guys. You tell me if you think yes or no. If any, you might say yes to. You don't have to do it individually. Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Paul George, Jason Tatum, Kawhi Leonard. Any of those?
Kawhi Leonard, yes.
I say Jason
Devin
Tatum.
Booker.
I don't know about Kawhi,
Devin
man.
Booker,
like, the
yes.
dude doesn't talk. I think people have kind of lost interest. That was cool for like a year, and now people are kind of like, you're boring, you play defense, and you don't talk. You're not on a good team
but
anymore.
he still won a championship in Canada. You know how hard that is to do? They haven't done it in hockey in 30 years.
You're
Rub
doing
it in,
Canadian
why don't you?
football all the time.
I was going to say, the Argonauts, I think, could do it every year, don't they? Stampede, one of them.
Grey Cup, NBA Finals.
Doesn't count.
Blue
Doesn't
Jays
count.
got one. They went back-to-back back in the day.
And they got Vlad Jr.
Hey, they've won like 9 straight. They're actually like, hot as hell right now. Made the Yankees look bad over the weekend.
Oh, boy, here we go.
No, I'm just Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
No.
I would
It's
qualify
not
him
right.
as will be.
Will be.
Yeah. At the moment, right now, today, no.
Yeah.
2-3 years from now, okay, yeah, probably.
Okay, you ready for this one? Get ready for this
Yes.
one.
Oh, I'm ready.
Caitlin Clark.
Please.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is
Caitlin.
absolutely
Yeah.
Caitlin Clark.
She's as big as anybody. that
I
you've
would
listed
I
so
would
far.
agree. Well, not of the entire list. No, she's not on Shohei's level or Tiger Woods level or Michael Jordan level, but of these last couple
Other
few
than
we've
that?
mentioned. Here's a very interesting one, and I mean this with sincerity. Take into account all the factors and try to remove our geographic location. More popular figure right now on planet Earth, Morgan Wallen or Tua?
Morgan Wallen.
Tua.
I think it's
I actually lean Tua also, and I think unfortunately a lot of it is because of the injuries, both in college and in the NFL, how unique some of them were, and what the conversation became around them.
true.
I love the Greg just having conversations with people.
Is Kenny Dillingham walked by.
Well,
and I'm
tell
like,
him you're
"That's
busy."
time.
Ask him.
Can we
I'm
get him
trying
on
to
the
get
show?
him.
Why would you not
Ask him
stop
Morgan
him
Wallen.
and get him on the
I'm
show?
trying to. He just asked if he could sit down, and his SID said no. I'm going to get him.
Screw that guy.
I didn't realize it. Oh, my gosh, there are players in jerseys walking around. Like
This
full
conversation's kind of right up his alley, too.
Full uniform?
This has
Dude,
gone into
UCF
like
is
the
in-
Birmingham Post-Herald Super Seniors photo shoot.
Dude,
That's what this has turned into.
UCF's players are literally walking around in full uniform right now.
My God. Come on, Scott.
This is incredible. They don't care.
Give
this
us
is
play-by-play
amazing.
right now. Just take us through it. What?
Well, number 69 has length.
I love that he doesn't know his name. I wouldn't have either.
But
Full
he's a
uniform.
big boy. Full uni right now. Full uni. Helmets in hand.
What?
So that is Paul
Oh, yeah.
Rubelt, most likely.
Oh, you know what? So is ASU. They must be doing a photo shoot. I was going to say Sam Levitt's over there to the left.
I think I
is
remember
being
this
with-
happening last year, and some of the players changed after the photo shoot, and some of the some went through the entire media days like in their uniform. So I do think I recalled this from a year ago, but yeah.
Well, this is actually hilarious because I have seen some players from some teams. They're just now starting to arrive. There's one set of players. I don't know from what team. I'm guessing Texas Tech. They were too far away for me to really be able to tell you. Texas Tech full suit. Kansas State was in literally t-shirts and shorts, playing cornhole on the field.
I love it.
UCF is in full uniform, and I just saw the first Arizona State player, and he is in full uniform.
I kind of
the
feel like
range
so
of attire
far,
right now.
yeah, so far the attire has taken on the personality of the head coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like Kansas State climbing, just like guys, just wear your flip flops and
whatever.
the damn
Yeah,
Kansas
right.
State shirt. We're fine. Don't care. Don't
Check the-
care what
just
you
check
look
the
like.
box.
Frost comes in there trying to reestablish himself. Full uniform, full pads for media day, guys. Ankles taped.
Dillingham, we're champions.
Yeah, there you go.
On and off the field.
All I want to know is, are we, as a show, covering Big 12 next year? And the answer is a resounding yes. BYU full uni.
Oh, yeah.
Kalani's his damn fullback. Like, what do you expect? I'm surprised they're not in shoulder pads. They're going middle drill out there today.
I love this.
Ain't no sleds around there.
Yeah, I could see Iowa State coming out in warm-ups. Like semi-serious, but not like over-the-top serious.
Right.
Like, don't want you to be uncomfortable.
If I were a player and I was asked to wear full uniform this early in the day, I would 100% have my helmet on.
And shoulder pads and thigh pads.
No,
Why
they
not?
are all.
Just all of it. I would have my gloves on.
No thighs. No thighs.
I'd have my wrist taped for this.
Would you have the hip pads on?
Well, nobody wears those anymore anyway, so.
He did it on the sideline. Why not do it here?
But you never know.
We're going to media day to put our hand in today. All right, quickly, let's go to Greg in Russellville. Wants to talk country singers. Welcome in, Greg.
Hey, thank you. I was trying to call in earlier, so this may not even kind of go with what you're doing now. But
that's kind of how our show is these days, Greg. None of it makes sense.
It's July, Greg.
Summer, right? Well, I was thinking about what Greg was talking about earlier with all the women he was seeing out there earlier.
Easy.
And it made me think of when I took my kids to Hershey, Pennsylvania, for the Hershey Museum and where they make the chocolate and all that. And we're driving down the road. Well, then all of a sudden, all these tailgaters are popping up everywhere. And I'm like, well, what in the world's going on here? Well, my oldest son is 13. And then we start seeing all these women. I mean, women everywhere. And he said, Dad, why's all these women wearing Daisy Dukes? And I said, well, I don't know, son. So we keep on going. I said, surely they're not here to see the Chocolate Museum. And he goes, well, I don't know what they're here for, but let's hang around a little bit. Well, we get on a little bit further down the road, we realize Jason Aldean is doing a concert there.
There you go.
So these country singers can draw the folks out like that.
They bring them out.
It was like 50,000 Daisy Dukes.
Thank you for that,
But
Greg.
anyway,
I needed to know if Greg went just for the Hershey Museum. Like, were you going to a Steelers game and you decided to take a detour? And like, well, we might as well go see the Hershey Museum. Or like,
One, two,
you want to go see the Pirates play and see Skeens pitch, and then all of a sudden, you're like, the Hershey Museum would be a cool warm up.
Hold on, Dad.
It could be the on deck circle for our game.
Let's take a detour. Let's see how this plays out. Like Sheriff Bart said, where are the women at?
There were so many jokes to be made there that weren't safe for air. I'm just going to stay away from all of them. Too many.
But I will tell you this, Jason Aldean, I'm taller than he is.
Jason Aldean.
He is under
married
5
to,
foot.
He is 5'6".
So that makes Kevin Hart, Jason Aldean, and who else under 20 or over 20?
Simone Biles.
Nate Richardson.
Jordan Childs, I guess.
Muggsy Bogues. I got him.
Who's the guy that Mike Tyson was wrestling with, the little kid?
Oh, my God. I'm 5'7" on a good day, y'all.
Today's a good day, then.
But Jason Aldean is short. I ran into him on the sidewalk downtown Birmingham. I was just like, wait a minute.
And how many people were running up to him going crazy?
No. Like, it was just like, oh, you just walking around. I see where you're going. Okay, I'll see you there, buddy.
All right, a couple folks tweeting in. Garrett Anderson says, LeBron or Brady walk in a room, you usually know who they are. Drop Morgan Wallen in any trailer park, he might as well be camouflaged. Actually, I would say that might be an area they do know who he is.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Right.
Now, drop him off at Mountain Brook Country Club.
Yeah. If he shows up at Sprouts, so no one's looking at him.
Good God. That was actually great.
Where is the closest Sprouts now? I feel like there used to be one in
there's one in Hoover.
But it's no more.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Oh, is
now.
there?
Yeah.
What's the exit that you take for your CBD store right there?
10?
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm serious.
Exit 10.
Yes.
150, yeah.
Yeah, it's 150 by Cajun Cleaver.
Yeah.
It's one of their 3 locations. Your CBD store has products that can help you out with a lot of illnesses, whether it's lack of sleep, whether you need more energy, more focus throughout the course of the day. And they do have those 3 locations. Highway 280 by Bailey Brothers, 150 by the Cajun Cleaver. Trustful just off 459. Your CBD store has helped pets in my household. If your pets are suffering from arthritis, anxiety, skincare, gut health, they have treats that can help them with that daily. And if you want more energy or better focus throughout the course of the day, getting up, getting a better start on your day, your CBD store has products for that. Hundreds of extracts and plants, and they work hard to find the ones that work best. That's why they're the first company to have USDA certified organic oil supplements. They have the stamp seal on their products. Your CBD store, where good health hits home. More on celebrities versus athletes next on Mac and Cube in the morning. I promise we will talk football probably at 9 a.m. with Bud Elliott, whose latest summer school edition, which he does in the summers that are great viewing, by the way, on YouTube. They're at CBS Sports on just kind of where programs are. We'll discuss Auburn with him at 9 a.m. John Talty has a write-up on Wisconsin and their new offense at 9:30. That opponent, obviously relevant for us, so we'll talk about that with him. I did want to get to some of the feedback as well coming in. Nick Stone tweeting into the show. At Mac and Cube, you can always tweet in, be a part. You can text into the show, 205-834-9450. You want to hit us up on the Higginbotham hotline, athletes versus musicians. Popularity has been a part of the conversation based on a tweet that I read over the weekend about Morgan Wallen and how nice he is to his fans, which I guess makes him a top 3 most popular musician on earth. 800-239-9569 if you want to get in. Nick Stone tweets in, with how similar all new country music sounds, I wouldn't even be able to pick out Morgan Wallen's voice on the radio or Spotify. Now, that one I think we would disagree with a little bit. Damian made a great point in the break that Morgan Wallen's music probably fits the category and the billing that we're giving it. He personally does not yet, as far as recognizable and crossing over genres. And it's like, it's one of the reasons that I probably would have disagreed with Greg on Lady Gaga. I think her music, 1,000%, like everybody knows Poker Face and all the songs or whatever, but like she presents herself so many different ways. You don't know what she normally looks like. And she can probably pull her hair back and go to Sprouts today, and people don't know who she is. Even Walmart, and they won't know who she is.
Oh, yeah, she's a Whole Foods
I don't know
gal.
about that.
She's definitely a Whole Foods gal. Yeah.
Same thing. She can
think
Planet
Lady
Fitness
Gaga-
for all we know.
Yeah.
And they
I
get
think
her
Lady
workout
Gaga
gear.
is pretty recognizable.
I don't know, man. Like,
I
her,
think
like,
you might
just-
be missing that one.
Yeah, if she's wearing like a patent leather Dracula suit, sure. But I mean, if she's just in like Lululemon gear and her hair's pulled back, no makeup, I don't think anybody knows who she is. I'm serious. A couple other folks tweeting in. Chris Smith says even Jeff Gordon is more recognizable than Morgan Wallen. I would say Dale Earnhardt Jr. probably.
Yeah.
Tony Stewart. Like Jimmy Johnson falls in the Kawhi Leonard category for me.
Yeah.
Like you didn't talk, you were boring. You were the best ever for a little while, but like no one knew who you were. Like Dale Earnhardt in his time, yes, way ahead. Some might even still argue today more ahead. Legend tweets in bubblegum music rules the day. Where are all the great rock groups?
He's not wrong.
We got Cat's Eye out there. You don't even know if they're good or not. You haven't tried them.
We talking great rock groups like what? Warrant
Poison,
from back in the day? Okay,
Sure.
all right.
Def Leppard.
Yeah.
We're gonna act like Metallica's not there. Y'all being
Metallica's
disrespectful
going on
now.
tour.
Y'all being disrespectful right now. I'm not here for it. Dan Strickland, any chance At Cole Cubelic challenges Scott Frost to a game of Golden Tee? I'll probably lose, and I don't even know if he's ever played it. I was never one
Why
of the,
Golden Tee?
I don't know.
Right.
I wasn't in that category for a while where it felt like every white male on earth played Golden Tee a lot. I didn't.
I always thought you were a huge like Peter Jacobson guy.
No, mine was more of Golden Eye more than Golden Tee. Now, I'll dominate you in that.
It doesn't matter.
Take you out.
Very different.
Proximity mines,
Very
rocket
different
launchers.
It doesn't
You
matter.
take your pick. Grab that body armor,
Very
you're in trouble.
different game.
So, Legend also tweets in, I wouldn't give 10 cents to see Taylor Swift. Bubblegum Hall of Famer.
What?
But I would say Hall of Fame.
Thank you.
Nonetheless, I'm never
Yeah.
going to be in any Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So I would, if you want to take
don't
overweight
have to
white
be
dudes
a
that did
fan.
Radio Hall of Fame, and I got in that, I'd still be proud of it. It's a Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame.
I mean,
You don't have to like it, but you cannot deny the popularity.
Facts.
he said
that's the
people
difference,
today
like-
don't know music or the joy of growing up in the Motown and stadium rock days. That's it. We
Oh,
don't have
God.
stadium rock anymore.
The acoustics at the amphitheater. We're getting back to it.
See, like the
trying.
whole like back in my day, the music was better thing. Like,
Right.
yes, that works. Like, I don't disagree. I listen to more 80s rock and roll, 70s rock and roll than I do, pop punk.
Legends
Like, I don't
never listen to
it.
Korn during a workout, by the way.
Yeah, I don't really. I'm not really a big Korn guy. Not really a big Limp Bizkit guy.
Well, I don't listen
but,
to it
like,
taking the kids to school, but
Right.
on the Peloton,
all.
there
It's
are
time
it
to
has
play
its
it.
moments.
Yeah.
Different, yeah.
It does. That does feel remarkably on brand for Cole. But
You said that
I'm
10
not
times
big.
today, which for me is a compliment that I don't try to be different people every day.
He's not Lady Gaga.
No.
No,
I ain't trying to go
I mean,
to Sprouts today.
Lady Gaga's got some toe tappers, but you're gonna sit there and try to pretend like you've never heard the song.
I love
You
Lady Gaga.
Probably, yeah. She rips, no doubt about it. She can put on a show.
My bad romance.
Come on now.
Poker Face, jam. I'm in. Got no problem. I don't know the newer stuff as much, but I got no issue with Lady Gaga.
No.
I don't know what her newer stuff sounds like, so you're already ahead of me if that's the case.
She got something with her and Bruno Mars. Good.
Rhett Heiler tweets into the show, I feel like there should be one category that says, quote, does it matter? I only listen to Mac and Cube. Thank you.
There we
Rhett.
go.
We appreciate you. Is there anybody
you go.
texting in anything semi-different to what we're just we're discussing going a different direction. You're like, is there anybody? We haven't had anybody tweet in that's on board with the Morgan Wallen side of this.
No, somebody says you don't understand how big of the footprint Morgan Wallen has. Not saying it makes sense to me, but his footprint is really worldwide. Was in Spain on a trip last month, and they were bumping Morgan Wallen at multiple bars I was in.
Okay. Now, was that also next to the McDonald's in Spain? I'm saying, was that like the tourist portion of town?
Are we getting back to the expat conversation?
Because I know some people in Spain that were bumping not like us a year ago too. So,
Sure.
right, maybe they just have good taste.
Right.
Or maybe from a sensical standpoint, it was just a relevant song
Maybe.
geographically.
True.
What side of the tracks were you on in Spain?
Somebody said Morgan Wallen's probably more popular than any athlete because there's 20-year-old women that couldn't pick out Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan.
My
Yeah,
wife
if they
can.
can't.
My wife can tell you who Tiger Woods is.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think my daughter, 10 years old, could tell you who Tiger Woods
right.
is.
20-year-old could pick
Correct.
out Mahomes and Kelsey.
Facts.
My daughter can 100% tell
Yeah.
you who Travis Kelce is.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's zero doubt. She's got a Travis Kelce jersey.
Yes.
Now,
What?
might not know what
Wait,
team he
what?
plays for. Might not know the team.
They know.
And
Hang on
definitely
a
doesn't
second.
know the
She has a-
position.
She has a Travis Kelce jersey.
She does. My father bought jerseys for the kids for Christmas, and he bought my son a Shohei jersey, my other son a TJ Watt jersey, and he's like, I wanted to keep it even.
That's dope.
So she got a Travis Kelce jersey because he knew she was a big Taylor Swift fan.
Gotcha.
And she has worn it to school and told me she got a lot of compliments. So I'm not ashamed
There
of
you
it.
go.
She's not ashamed of it.
No.
So
No, I thought I think it's great. I just love that she's willing to go and throw a Travis Kelce jersey on and go to school. I think that's awesome. I think it's great. I think she needs to start rocking the Cube 61 jersey to school.
well, that would
Where could he
it
buy
would
that?
literally
though?
be an evening gown. Like it would look like a wedding dress.
it's not about
a
it's not
train,
about
have
style.
a train behind her, like literally.
It's
It's hard to stop.
it's
those,
about
though.
representing.
But to the gentleman's point, we have said he's number one on the current Billboard 100 artist list. And I still go back to Damien's point of the music, yes, I believe resonates and everyone knows that music and what it is. Is it lunchtime there?
Chewing steel.
What happened? Did somebody just
I think
set a
something-
PR on the power clean?
I think something was just dropped
Oh, it
upstairs.
sounded like they were
and
ringing the
it,
bell for
Oh,
something.
no one hit a triangle or something?
reverberated.
Hear you.
Yeah.
450 on the power clean. Place at the table. Ring the bell. Ding, 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 ding.
I've had 8 people come up to me and ask me if I'm on the air during this interview, and none of that has gotten through. But the one barbell that drops
No, we
40
heard the one
yards
guy.
away
You
is
had a
what you heard.
conversation with him. It was Kenny Dillingham, and you
Yeah.
didn't get him on the show.
I asked
Yes,
you-
right now, Coach, can you answer 2 questions? Nope, you let it go. Speaking of
I
training,
would love to get all these people on the show.
not the guys behind
however-
you that have been telling us about their evening last night, the whole day.
Oh, hadn't heard that.
Greg, don't say anything for 5 seconds and turn him up.
Okay.
I don't know what they're talking about, but I want no part of it. Sounds awful. Just like the Alabama
an
heat and
interview.
humidity. It can be brutal. Don't let it affect your home and family. Keep them comfortable with an affordable train cooling system. They've been recognized as America's most trusted brand 11 consecutive years and the official cooling partner here at Jox. Find a comfort specialist for you at train.com. Remember, it's hard to stop a train. Back right with more right after this. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning, Tuesday, July 8th, right here on Jox 94.5. Tommy Wyndham tweets in, you guys should wear your college helmets at media days. Strapped up, mouthpiece in like a third grader in the car on the way to practice. It would be uncomfortable.
I will give you $1 for every minute you wear it during the radio show on the Auburn day of media days.
$1 for every minute?
Correct.
What day is Auburn? Well, no, because this is the most I can make is $24 doing that. No,
that's not true. No, the most you can make is
every
$180.
minute. Sorry. Not worth it.
It's worth thinking about though.
$5 a minute.
To be a lot of money.
I'm in.
Okay, $5 a minute. What is that? What am I, Jeff Bezos?
Yes.
What does this look like?
I mean,
You buy $11 grilled cheese.
Greg asked Wimp for a loan earlier. I mean, he ain't that breaded.
Okay. I did get this text in.
No bread.
I did get this text in from a friend moments ago who has a teenage or almost teenage daughter. Y'all are not taking into account the amount of girls and kids that are into Morgan Wallen. I don't think it's close. I'm not sure you guys have named anyone yet that would be more popular. Sad but true. Nah.
Taylor Swift? That one
Shohei?
Shohei. LeBron.
Steph Curry?
Yeah.
Judge?
Not Cubelic, but Aaron.
Oh, not Reinhold?
Not yet, Cubelic.
I mean, think about the amount of people in the Far East that watch every game that Shohei Ohtani plays.
Right.
Yep.
That alone
not
would
a
put
small
him
number.
just the diehard baseball fans in that part of the world would, in my opinion, put him ahead of Morgan Wallen.
Correct.
And he performs here, so he counts. Yeah. I think Michael Jordan is ahead.
Yes.
I don't think that one's even debatable. And I would say again, and I can't really go into the detail why, but I would feel fairly confident saying that Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi, Mbappe, all ahead.
Yeah.
Probably not even close. I'll give you one that we haven't mentioned that's probably ahead of him also is Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah.
Not for us per se,
True.
but globally,
True.
That's true.
Yeah, way ahead.
Yeah.
Think
No,
Novak?
you're not wrong there at all.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Novak?
He's big time.
That's a good one.
I would maybe say Nadal and
Federer is still, and Nadal are still probably
Federer.
Yeah,
ahead
I think
of
them
him.
too, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, Djokovic and Serena Williams is ahead of him also.
Yes.
yeah, good call.
Doesn't have to play any more tennis. Like, just there.
Venus might be ahead of him.
No,
No.
that movie wasn't that good.
But at least people could figure out Venus.
Yeah.
Serena definitely ahead. Venus, no, I don't think so. Serena for sure. Like, I mean, well, Bud Elliott joins us to get back on the football conversation next. Mac and Cube in the morning. Welcome back in. Jim tweets into the show in response to our poll question via Twitter. God help us. I don't know the context of it, just that's what he shares. And that's where his brain is right now. Maybe it's just the entire show today, which I could see where people would go there. It's been a little off the rails, a little different. Greg's live at Big 12 Media Day, so things have been discombobulated. He's got coaches talking to him, people standing next to him unpacking their bags, talking loud. But, hey, it's a little different. That's just what it is. But Elliott's going to try to bring us back to college football, though, on the Higginbotham Hotline. He joins us there. And before we get into some of your summer school episodes, particularly your most latest, which is the Auburn Tigers, Bud, we have been debating this kind of back and forth today. There was a tweet that we read from over the weekend about Morgan Wallen, and it essentially stated that outside of Beyonce and Taylor Swift, he is the most popular figure in the United States right now, or more popular than any sports figure right now, and I guess a top 3 musician in the United States right now. Would you say yes or no, Morgan Wallen more popular than every sports figure in the U.S. today?
Ooh, okay. So, like, is this just among people who also live in the U.S., or is this, like, worldwide?
I think it's just competing in the United States, but here's the quote from the tweet. Wallen is probably the biggest music star in the world right now, this side of Taylor Swift and Beyonce. More people know who he is than almost any of these athletes. So it kind of stuck with me for a few days. That part doesn't matter, whatever. But he's basically saying that he is more recognizable than any athlete right now on earth.
I would say, like, he might be more popular, like, right now among people living in the U.S., but, like, as far as, like, recognizable, I mean, Tiger and LeBron internationally, like, I don't – how many people in Asia do you think are listening to Morgan Wallen, right? But they all know who Tiger and LeBron are. So I'm going to probably thumbs down that.
Yeah, Shohei, all the soccer stars immediately ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Bud Elliott here to talk summer school, though, and that is summer school in reference to his video series that you can catch on the 24/7 Sports Network. You recently went with the Auburn Tigers. There seems to be sort of a big gauge on where they could be or where they might not be this upcoming season. As far as where they finish, how they finish, where does more of your confidence lie, Bud? On the 8, 9, 10 win end or on the 5, 6, 7 win end of things?
I think I'm on the 8, 9, 10. I think that they have, roughly 7 games where, like, they should either definitely be favored or probably be favored. I think they have a chance to pull some upsets too. I mean, I like this receiving core a whole lot. I think they've done a very nice job of rebuilding the offensive line. In recent years, they have some guys on the D line. I mean, obviously, Keldrick's stud. And I think the back end could be solid. I think this team should probably contend for a playoff spot if things really fall their way, as long as quarterback hits, right? And like Auburn, to me, kind of executed the plan just as it was laid out to me a couple of years ago. We're going to spend like crazy on high school for a couple of years in a row. We're going to supplement where we missed out of high school by using the portal. And that seems like they followed that plan exactly. It's just, you can't tell me that 2 years ago when they started doing this, that they were like, yeah, Jackson Arnold's going to be the guy we're going to go get after he got benched at Oklahoma, right? Like, but the market is the market. You're kind of just, you're at the mercy of what's actually available in the portal. So they ended up with Arnold, probably not anybody's first choice, but the kid had some ability out of high school. And I mean, Freeze runs a system. I think it's fairly simple to execute. Like, maybe they can get something out of this kid and be really good.
I think there's a lot of upside there, and there's a lot of reason to be optimistic. And I think if you look at Oklahoma's situation last year, it's easy to kind of lose sight of what transpired. He dealt with a rash of injuries. He had to play against Tennessee, whose defense was outstanding. They got a little shelled in that game, and I think there was some carryover from the previous year's bowl game where he was trying to press a little bit more because of the expectations. Like, how much should we look at the circumstances around Jackson Arnold last year and maybe apply it to the challenges of him putting forth a consistent effort?
So I think some of the stuff is problematic, like the not getting off the first read and then how quickly he would bail on stuff. Like that makes you wonder, ooh. But on the other hand, can you name me the receivers he was throwing to by the second half of the year? And like the offensive line that they took out of the portal, like they took the Michigan State kid, I think it was, and like they chose him over J.C. Davis, who went, from New Mexico to Illinois. And like, I know guys at staffs in the Big Ten, and they were like, holy cow! Like Oklahoma took that kid and not J.C. Davis, and like they first guessed it. It was wrong at the start. And like ended up like they had multiple guys getting hurt there on the offensive line. So I think they scouted it poorly, and then they had injuries in the O-line too. Receiver, I thought they had talent, and they just got wrecked by injuries. So there wasn't much around him. Obviously, I don't think Venables made a real inspired hire last year for the OC, and that's why he had to fire his buddies there to bring in Arbuckle from Washington State and go get John Mateer. So I think you have to give Arnold a bit of a pass, certainly for what happened last year. Some of the habits, though, like, okay, like can you coach that out of him? Maybe if there's better talent around him that won't show up quite as much or have the opportunity to show up quite as much.
Well, we've said it on this show many times, but he's got to be rewired, and that's got to be coached out of him and then back into him. And if you can't do that, this is not going to be on that 8, 9, 10 win side of things, because if dropping the football and not being able to throw the football are still problematic, Auburn's not going to win a lot of games. The other side of the football is where I have maybe more mild concerns. Now, you might not have as many guys that really, really need to hit to be pretty good, but I just don't see many guys that could lead to this Auburn defense being dominant. And if the offense is going, maybe they don't have to be. What are your thoughts on Auburn's defense heading into this season?
I do think it's a bit of a concern. Like for a while, it was like, man, they always had really good defense, especially like in the Harsin years, and the offense was kind of, but they didn't recruit super well, back then. Some of the guys they brought in, I think are pretty solid players. But like, I don't think it's going to be, a top third defense in the SEC. I think if you told that Auburn staff, and Cole, you know better than me, but if you said, hey, this is the top half defense in the SEC, I think they're taking that, right? Like we'll bank that. We'll find a way to score some points on offense. We'll win 8, 9. If we get lucky with the bounces, maybe 10 ball games.
When you look at the defense in general, all three levels, I think they have a chance to be every bit as good and maybe even more talented in some spots. Last year, I thought they had just really good football players, you know what I mean? But maybe not guys that had ridiculously high ceilings. I feel like this year's team has a few more guys with high ceilings and maybe a little bit lower floor. Is that a fair assessment from your evaluation?
Yeah, like the variance seems higher. I would agree with you.
Agree.
And the problematic part of that is you don't really ease into the schedule. We talked about Mateer at Oklahoma, but from my understanding, like their first choice was Sawyer Robertson and the OC there at Baylor as well, and Baylor decided to pay up and keep both those guys. So, like that kid can play. I don't know if you guys watched, but he was really. I mean, I know you do, but like I don't know if your audience watched. Guys, Sawyer Robertson is good. Like really pretty damn good. So that's going to be a challenge in week one. They're probably going to have to score 30 to win that ballgame.
Damn, 30. I mean, listen, we've put up the warning signals for Baylor. We've tried to let people know this is not going to be a show up, roll the ball out there, play decent football, win, specifically on the road. And that offense can be a big reason why. Are there guys on this Auburn roster, offense or defense, that because you see a lot of these kids that we haven't seen, be it camps, in different recruiting competitions, things of that nature, that you're pretty excited because you think they could be more than a lot of people are discussing? A guy that, I don't want to go breakout because it's just kind of a lazy term, but somebody who you have bigger expectations of than maybe the general public is discussing right now.
Yeah, I want to see, like, is Jeremiah Wright going to be like a dominant guy for them? Like, he's a dude with potential if the weight's in check. You know what I mean? Like, am I wrong to be very high on his offensive line? I like Connor Liu. I thought the kid from Virginia Tech, Xavier, what's his name? Like, I thought he was a pretty good get for them. And looking at this, I think a lot of it is the O-line has potential to take. I mean, I thought it took somewhat of a jump last year, but like a really big jump this year. That's what I'm probably most fired up about. Well, that and the receivers think we know.
Sure.
I think the receivers and the O-line have a chance to be absolute. I think the receivers have a chance to be top 3, top 4 unit in the league. O-line has a chance to be top 5 unit in the league. You have those two spots, you're cooking with gas. What about running back? That continues to be the one position where it's like, all right, that's an obvious decline from last year. I'm optimistic that every other position group might be improved. I don't know that for sure, but I think it's possible. However, at running back, I'm not sold. What are your thoughts at that spot?
I think that it probably, well, first of all, I agree with you. It's probably not as good as it was last year. But when I think back to the great, like, Hugh Freeze offenses of Ole Miss, like, who were their backs? Do you have like backs who stand out in a major way from those offenses? A lot of it was you're spreading the field, you're creating some of these vertical shots. People can't really, play you in a lot of single high looks with the extra man in the box. And you're kind of scheming up, especially because they were using a lot of QB run game back in the day as well, with like Machine Gun Kelly and those guys. So, I think honestly with the running backs, like, it doesn't stand out as like a real special spot, and it's probably not a spot in fantasy you're going to be drafting anybody all that high.
A couple other SEC teams you've tackled that I want to get just a quick thought on. First, Tennessee. It's just wild, maybe postseason, how much it's changed to now. And I think the quarterback situation has forced us to dive into other things, and we see, man, this part might not be close to where it was last year. This is going to be tough. Do you view Tennessee as being anything close to a playoff contender this year, or is it a pretty big fall off?
If they arrive a year early, and that does happen in college football sometimes, right? Like back when I was running Tomahawk Nation, that 2013 FSU team, Jimbo thought the 14 team was going to be it, right? And like the 13 team just all kind of coalesced and arrived a year early. Now, I don't think they have a Jameis in Knoxville this year, obviously, but in doing it, and obviously we released it yesterday, Go Vols 247, Patrick Brown did a great job for us. He kind of thought it was more of like hey, they weren't super aggressive in the transfer portal. They were very aggressive in the retention aspect of the offseason because they like a lot of their young pieces that they paid for. They decided to keep them. They think they're on the right track with a lot of those guys to hit, but maybe this isn't the year for them to make a run. It is a nice year, though, to have a pretty soft schedule. So if you do have a bit of a drop-off from last year and losing Nico maybe doesn't go all that well, maybe you don't fall to that 7-5 rate. Maybe you still go 8-4, and people aren't happy at 8-4, but they're not really, really pissed at 8-4.
No, nor should they be. I think when you look at the possibility of 8-4, I think most Tennessee fans, I don't think they'd take it, but I think they'd understand it. And I know that that's a weird place to be, but it's an understandable place as well, knowing what's transpired this offseason. Help me understand right now, Bud, in your search for kind of a sleeper, because I mean you've done so many, like a Virginia Tech, a Michigan State. I mean, I think there's a handful of teams right now that are being a little bit slept on. I'm not necessarily saying playoff contenders or national championship contenders, but who's a team that as you've kind of dug a little deeper on, you're like, you know what, I'm way more bullish on them than I thought I'd be going into this practice?
So I'm going to give you Washington. So, and obviously the schedule is brutal, but I think Damon Williams is really good. They had who was the Mississippi State kid who transferred to quarterback
Will
for
Rogers
Washington last year?
Will Rogers.
Yeah. So you got guys like 25
Boy, be
years
careful.
old.
Cole gets very defensive there. Be careful.
No,
That's Cole's guy.
He was a good quarterback, and I think you knew what he was, right? Like he was somebody you could trust and was a good player, not a great player, but like a good player. And yet Washington was still finding reasons that they had to get this 18-year-old Damon Williams on the field. Every time they played him, he shined. He went for 300, 200 against Louisville in the bowl game. That's like Vince Young type numbers. That's not normal. And Louisville's defense wasn't great, but it wasn't awful. I mean, obviously that day it played pretty awful. But if you look at this schedule, so at Maryland, what if Maryland is a mess? Okay, at Michigan, you're probably not winning that. But what if Michigan's offense is just truly a year away and you can find a way to score 24, 27, and Michigan has an off day? That's very possible.
I was going to say 21.
At Wisconsin late in the year, is Fickle fired by that point? Is that team thinking about next year where they're going in the portal at that point? At UCLA, again, not great depth. So, looking at that, I'm just kind of – the schedule on paper is really, really hard, but there are some real potential downsides for some of the teams they play. And I think Williams is really good. I think Boston, the receiver, is excellent. They've got a really good back as well. The defense doesn't lose all that much. So if they can stay healthy, I think there's some chance maybe the schedule is slightly easier than it looks.
Yeah, I think most people would be on board with you there. Bud Elliott joining us on the Higginbotham hotline of the 247 Sports Network. You can find the Summer School series on their YouTube page now under Cover 3 as well, which is the Cover 3 podcast. Great listen. Also, if you don't catch up on that for everything college football. We are pretty high here on this show on Oklahoma. A lot of people are kind of coming around to that, but it's still a lot of maybe, if, and, but with Oklahoma. The definitives are there, defensive line, some of the linebackers, some of the skill if healthy, but a lot of this hasn't happened together, Bud. So how cautious should we be about Oklahoma being a lot better than they were a year ago?
I mean, I think that there's a potential for it to happen. That I think we know what Mateer is, at least somewhat. But I will point out, like, with Mateer, if you look at his numbers, he killed a lot of these, like, bad Mountain West teams, which is essentially the schedule that Washington State played last year. And that's a very different thing than how Cam Ward played against the Pac-12 in the last year of the Pac-12 that, sent Washington to the national championship game and had a damn good Oregon team under Dan Lanning, and like a lot of those type of teams. So I would caution people, if you're comparing the numbers and you're comparing the film, like, those are not the same jerseys that Cam Ward played against. And that is a different level of competition. When Mateer played the Power 5 schools, or P4 now as we call it, he really didn't put up big time numbers. And you might say, well, hey, he had kind of, like non-P4 players around him, and that's a fair counter. So I want to see how that works. They had the one receiver injury to Gibson, I think it was. So, like, that is potentially a bit of a worry if they're already taking some attrition there. And I got to see Venables, like, how much does he micromanage his coaches? That was the complaint last year from guys on that staff. Like, can he relax a little bit? Can he let some of these guys work? They lost their D coordinator, who I know he was extremely high on, to West Virginia. Like, that's not a lateral move if you compare program to program, but it might be an upgrade for that guy in terms of situation, in terms of who you're working for. So, like how much can Venables become more of a head coach and less of a D coordinator? I think that's going to be really important for them.
Finally, Bud, always feel like you have a great finger on the pulse for Florida State. I'm not sure there's anybody that covers the Noles better. I always enjoy listening to Noles Cast when we're getting ready to do an FSU game, and I listen to Cover 3 every week. And between you and Cannell, it can at times be hilarious with how they occasionally gas y'all up. But help me understand what to expect of the Noles this year, because I want to like them. I really do. I think all the moves they've made this offseason by bringing in Gus Malzahn, by bringing in a new defensive coordinator that's going to implement a new style of defense, I'm really optimistic. I just don't know what the ceiling's like, because I don't think they were as good as the 13-0 2 years ago, and they certainly weren't as bad as the 2-10 last year. Where is this team this year?
Yeah, I think you really hit it on the head. So if you're Norvell, you go and hire Gus Malzahn, I think, to raise the floor of this year and kind of reset it so you don't get fired. And they really don't want to fire the guy because he's got like a $50 million buyout. He hasn't recruited, I think, to the Florida State standard. There's probably a couple of reasons for that. A lot of it I do think is on him, but there's some other issues. But you go and get Tommy Castellanos, in my opinion, for his legs, right? The guy's not a great thrower of the football. I don't like Gus Malzahn's passing concepts really at all, but I think his run concepts and how he kind of marries that up with some of the play action stuff is pretty wild and has been successful at a lot of different stops. And so Norvell, his system is somewhat similar to Malzahn. They're off the same coaching tree. I know that's been a mentor for him at times in the coaching profession. So if they can keep Castellanos healthy, or maybe just don't use his legs as much in some of the games that are a little easier, and coming off 2-10, maybe nothing is actually easier, I think they can have a nice year, maybe win 7-8 ball games. He's never really stayed healthy at all, and he's kind of a turnover machine in his history. So, like, the throwing has to be a little bit better, and he has to stay healthy enough to where they can feature the legs a lot. I do know that a lot of programs came after Deuce Robinson after spring ball because he had a big-time spring, and there was always a thought, like, maybe he's just blocked out by the guys at USC who are, probably top of the draft type receivers at those spots. And I will say out of Tallahassee, that looks to be the case. I think Deuce Robinson is probably really good. They had to make sure to keep him pretty hard after spring football. So they got one receiver they can feature. Gus has a history of really like having one go-to guy in his offense. They don't spread the ball around a whole lot typically. Defensively, I think they'll just have better cohesion and coaching and probably play harder. Last year, it looked like they quit a lot of times. And I think Tony White's a pretty proven quality defensive coordinator, a number of stops, and they were pretty happy to get him away from Matt Rule at Nebraska. So anyway, I think they will be better. I don't think they're anything special. I don't think they're really going to contend for the conference.
I brought you on because I wanted to start with the Auburn episode of Summer School, which was out recently, and you've done a couple other SEC teams. There's a lot of other college football teams, but I want to end with an Auburn question as well, because you, for a long time, have been behind the scenes on the recruiting portion of covering college football. It's one thing that separates you from a lot of other people and your knowledge of it. Give us your 1,000-foot view of where Auburn, Hugh Freeze, all of it are from a program / recruiting standpoint right now? Because you know the noise that's been going around. You know the things being said. You know a lot of the thought processes with different people. Describe that for us.
So I do think there are Auburn money people who are not real happy with Freeze right now. Obviously, like the golfing thing, how much golf are you playing when you lose to New Mexico State, all that kind of stuff. But that's probably overblown a little bit. I think it really comes down to this. As McElroy said yesterday, you got a top 5 payroll in the sport. You need to see some wins. I think if those money people say, hey, we're seeing real progress on the field, and they'll know pretty early, I think the checks keep flowing. If not, they're probably like, what are we spending for? Like the money will be there for the new guy too, if you need one. I think it's as simple as that. Now, I do think this whole, we're not going to do any kind of verbal offers. Why not? Right? Like if your verbal offer matches your written offer, that builds trust with the kids. And if other schools' verbal offers don't match their written offers come August 1, cool. I love to recruit against that because I can say, hey, those guys are liars.
Yeah.
What we told you was real, ended up being real. So to me, this whole like no written offer, like, we're not going to do that August 1st. That's kind of a convenient smokescreen to buy some time. I think people with the top 5 payroll want to see some wins, as they should.
Like I do, if that were the case, as far as the offers matching, that's going to be known and that's going to get around. And people are going to have that information. So of course,
exactly.
Bud, great stuff, man. Thanks for hopping on. Always love visiting with you. You always give us great information. We'll do it again soon. See you in Atlanta.
All right, guys, I'm going to go pull my kids off this trampoline. They're trying to shut her off.
Hopefully they're still without broken limbs. So yes.
Yeah, I got the net, but we're testing this net.
There we go. Thanks, Bud.
I'll see you guys.
All right, Bud Elliott joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. You deserve solutions that are built for you. Higginbotham is your one-source solution for insurance, financial, and HR services. Bud Elliott, a part of the 247 Network, the On3 podcast, or the Cover 3 podcast, excuse me. You can go find that. And then his summer school series out now on YouTube, a great watch for a lot of different teams if you want to catch up on those. Greg, your guy from UCF, number 69, he is in shoulder pads. He's not just in pants and a jersey. He does have his shoulder pads on and apparently trying to juggle oranges somewhere. I see this on Twitter right now.
Literally full uniform. A couple of the guys, I mean, they got some guys that look pretty good on the hoof here, man. I mean, like, I'm seeing a bunch of guys walking around. It's like there's some legit dudes in this league, man. It's pretty dang impressive. I'll see.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be honest with you. Coach comes to me with full uniform for media days with pads. That's a hard pass.
Awesome. How much time?
Let somebody.
You're out.
I'm out.
It's better than a suit and tie.
Yeah. Tell those guys we have more than 5 or 10 minutes. By the way, we have as much time as they need. Just cut right in the middle of them and say, "Hey, we got as much time as you need right here on Mac and Cube in the morning." All right, we'll be back. Greg live at Big 12 Media Days. First, I'm going to tell you about Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. If you're looking to get into a new home, why not call the Gusty Goulas Group? They've served more than 3,000 home buyers and sellers in the greater Birmingham area. If you were to Google Gusty Goulas Group today, you would see more than 850, not positive reviews, 5-star reviews for the Gusty Goulas Group. Call 205-542-1996 today and start packing. The Gusty Goulas Group wants to work for you. They know what's coming available. They know what the prices should be, and they know what they can get, and they're going to be able to get for your home. And they're going to tell you when you go to GustyGoolsGroup.com or call 205-542-1996. Central Alabama's leading real estate agent, in my opinion, Gusty Goulas and the Gusty Goulas Group. 205-542-1996 or go to GustyGoolsGroup.com today and start packing. We'll unpack a little bit of what Bud Elliott had to say when we come back next on Mac and Cube in the morning. All right, welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. I'm trying to decipher this Tampa Bay Buccaneers video with Steve Spurrier in it, and I'm assuming that they're going to get creamsicle throwbacks this year. I don't believe that they're bringing him into the front office or anything, and they're going to celebrate him that way. It's got to be what it is.
For him when he wore that?
What's that?
Isn't that the uniform he wore when he played for the Bucs?
Yeah, that's why I think that this has got to be what this announcement is. On the 15th, it says they'll
When
announce
I think Steve Spurrier, I think Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Hell yeah. What else would you think?
No doubt about it. Yep.
Dude.
No doubt about it.
I kind of wanted the glass break there and like him to walk into the office of the head coach and be like, I'm the captain of the ship now. I'm in charge now. I think they're just getting new uniforms though. So that's all it is.
Won a Heisman, coached one too.
Yep.
Won a couple national championships, won a couple SEC titles. Yeah.
Not very good as an NFL head coach. But,
5 handicap. Yeah. Yeah.
Remember all the Florida players he kept trying to sign in Washington? It wasn't going to work.
Yes.
Yeah, it was not going to work.
We're going to just redo it. We're just going to redo it right here. We're going to do it right here. We're going to bring Gainesville north. That's what it is.
Well, it's worked for the Eagles in Georgia.
It's fair, but they don't have Kirby coaching.
Yeah, that's fair. Very true. Very true.
Okay, Golden Domer wants to chime in on the Higginbotham hotline on the celebrity conversation we had for actually most of the show, not just early in the show. Welcome in, Domer.
Top of the morning, gentlemen.
Morning.
So this is what I want to say. There's a big difference. I think we're wording this wrong, and that's why we're getting it wrong. There's a big difference between known of, recognizable, and popular. Those are not the same thing. Bernie Sanders is known of. He's not popular. George Washington is known of. He's not popular. Some of those people y'all said, Charles Barkley, he's known of, but he's nowhere near as popular as Morgan Wallen. When you're saying popular, now you also have to start talking about demographics. What demographics of people follow that particular person? And people in entertainment and retail will tell you the demographic you want to be popular is young.
Here's the tweet.
Female.
Here's the tweet, because based on your DM, you caught this conversation a little late.
Yep.
Wallen is probably the biggest music star in the world right now, this side of Taylor Swift and Beyonce. More people know who he is than almost any of these athletes.
More people know who he is. Okay, well, see, to me, that's called being known. So what I would say is I wouldn't use the word popular, because popular-wise, Morgan Wallen's going to blow out a lot of people. Being known, I would say Tiger Woods and people like that would beat him, yes. But popular-wise, when I would say popular, think about it in this way. How many people are engaging? How many people actually follow that person? If that person come out with a book or a book tour, or they did a free speaking, how many people are showing up to the stadium?
No, popular equals likability at a certain point in time. I do think you can have popularity without likability, but it's different things in different places. This was more being a known celebrity. And there are multiple ways to word it, but that's what we went off. And so that's why we put all the big soccer stars first, a couple F1 guys next. Then we went through some NBA guys, some MLB guys, a couple NFL guys, and that's where we came out. Is that, I mean, being known, you put him on the street in Rhode Island right now and walk down it, how many people stop him and say, oh, can I get a picture of Morgan Wallen? You let Michael Jordan walk down the same street. More or less people stopping him. We think more. Tiger Woods, same thing. Steph Curry, same thing. So that's where it was derived from, and that's why we went the direction we went with it. Back with more right after this. Welcome back in. McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Going to continue the college football conversation that we started at 9 a.m. with John Talty, who has an interesting write-up on Wisconsin and their offense and maybe where things could go this year. And it's a big year for Luke Fickell in Wisconsin. Greg kind of brought up with Bud Elliott a little bit earlier. We're going to continue going there with an offensive coordinator change. And honestly, John, I feel like there's part of this getting back to their roots. I mean, we scratched our head with the move to bring Phil Longo in. It just personality-wise didn't feel like a fit, not only for the program but for the head coach. And we understand wanting to score points, but just how is that hire now viewed by the people inside that athletic facility and the people supporting that program as opposed to what it was on the surface when it was made?
Yeah, it just didn't work, Cole. And I think sometimes not we, but I guess coaches, ADs, whatever, sometimes you're so interested in trying to think outside the box and reinvent the wheel because maybe it feels sexier or feels new or innovative or whatever you want to call it. But I think what Luke Fickell has realized was that attempt to do something unique just didn't work. It didn't really fit maybe the typical type of kids that fit at Wisconsin. To your point, didn't really fit his personality. I mean, and how his teams won at Cincinnati. So I think, moving on from Phil Longo, had to be done. And, I think bringing in Jeff Grimes, someone who has had success at a lot of different places. There's been some downs too. He went from being a Burroughs Award finalist to getting fired at Baylor 2 years later. But I think one of the things that Luke Fickell told me that he likes a lot about Grimes, and obviously Cole, that, from all of his different styles, like there's some adaptability. He can change and evolve depending on the personnel. And I think they feel like he has a better chance to maximize what they have coming back, what they've added in guys like Billy Edwards, than what Phil Longo was trying to do with that air raid style offense at Wisconsin.
I look at, and I'm just in preparation for Big 12 Media Days. I was watching a bunch of Kansas kind of leading up to this, and he did a lot of really interesting stuff while not getting away from what made him the guy that he was as a play caller, both BYU and at Baylor. So I guess when looking at how this offense could evolve, is quarterback run a part of their future? We know stretch zone will be. Like, how much do you think this is going to be a little bit more like the ground and pound Wisconsin that we once knew and loved when compared to kind of what it became over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think that they do like, Billy Edwards is a guy who had success, at Maryland, especially running the ball, when he was Talia Tagovailoa's backup, really effective at, running the ball in short distances. Talking to Jeff Grimes, likes his ability to scramble, to move around. I think that they view that as an extra, variable that makes the offense, more potent. When Grimes and I were talking about him, he's talked about he likes 2 tight end sets. I mean, there's different things that they like to do. So I do think we'll see more ground and pound, but they've tried to add different things to make it beyond just simply maybe what we saw under, Brett Bielema or even Barry Alvarez earlier than that. But I think, Edwards in particular is a guy they really like. They liked, again, because he's tough, because he can run. It just opens up so many more things. It makes it, as you guys know, so much harder for defenses to have to game plan against a guy like that who can, have success, with his legs. And, he was a good passer last year at Maryland. I mean, it was not a very good team. Probably being a Maryland alum, probably watched more Maryland than the average person. And, just there was more there than probably what that final record was. And I think that's what they feel very confident in, that they can, really push him up a level beyond just what he did last year at Maryland, which he, was a pretty good passer and had, I think, top 20 passing offense in the country.
John Talty joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. Find his work at CBS Sports Network. A write-up on Wisconsin on where that offense is and maybe could go under new OC Jeff Grimes. Where do you sort of view Wisconsin in the Big Ten pecking order heading into this season?
It's hard, man, because you look at, some of the other talent that's coming back at other places that you feel, even better about. And then even teams that, had down years last year, like for instance, Michigan, they're very bullish so far on Bryce Underwood. They like some of the talent that they acquired in the portal. That's another team that Wisconsin has to, play on their schedule. So I think that it's one of those situations where you look at what they've done. I think that Grimes will fit better in terms of what they want to do offensively. I think Edwards will be an upgrade over what they had at quarterback. They made it a major priority to beef up the defensive line. They got multiple guys that we have in the 24/7, top 15 or so at the defensive line position. So they've made all these improvements, but that schedule, you look at it and you start struggling to find where the wins are. I mean, I think that a bowl game is the absolute bare minimum, has to happen. But when you think about having to play Bama, Ohio State, Oregon, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, down and down it goes. Like, I think there'll be a decently improved team from last year, but it still might be pretty hard to get more than 7 wins, which puts you, middle to lower of the pack of what we expect out of the Big Ten this year.
Looking at the Big Ten, everyone's kind of hot on Illinois, understandably. I think they had a nice year last year. I think they were somewhat of a beneficiary of a somewhat manageable schedule. Maybe it looks that way again this year. But I'm trying to find that Indiana team that could come from obscurity, and I keep going back to Nebraska. And I think I don't know why that is, but I'm finding just more reasons to believe there's a lot of upside potentially with what they have, with Dana Holgorsen now calling the plays, Raiola in his second year. They've upgraded their receiver core defensively. There shouldn't be much drop-off. Am I nuts for kind of starting to get behind Nebraska as that sleeper team in the Big Ten?
No, I don't think that you're nuts at all. And I think the reasons that you hit on would be what I would point to is that, Raiola, I think, showed flashes last year. I think you expect him to take a leap this year. Everything I've heard is that, Dana's loving it up there. It's really fitting in well. Matt Rule, probably if you guys have been around him, one of the cooler coaches, very down to earth. He and Holgo have, I think, built a pretty good rapport and bond so far from everything that I've been told. So I think there's reasons to believe that offense can definitely take a jump. I didn't think that the Satterfield hire at OC was right from the beginning, and I think that kind of proved accurate over time. So I think just at minimum, you expect to see them take a jump. I mean, I know they can't pick the same team, but I'm bullish on Indiana this year too. I mean, they're not going to be surprising teams the way they did, but and I did a story on him recently, but I think Fernando Mendoza is one of the least talked about / most important pickups of the cycle. I thought he was good at Cal last year. Will have more weapons at Indiana. I like what they've done offensively of Cignetti and those guys. So I think there's going to be a few teams that could be in that mix, but I don't think Nebraska is crazy at all. And I've been a Matt Rule believer for a long time. I think it's been tough sledding at Nebraska for years now, probably since Bo Pelini, but I think that they should be in that 8, 9 and up stretch. And then if you get, a couple of things to go your way, you're right. They could be right in that mix.
John Talty joining us on the Higginbotham Hotline. We were talking mostly Big Ten schools, but you're still located in SEC country, spend a lot of time here. You know these programs well. I'm just curious, as we head into SEC Media Days, give us your 1,000-foot views of Auburn and Alabama.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think with Auburn right now, so much of it is about what's happening with recruiting and why are things not working out right and all that different stuff. But I think when you look at them from an actual program and team standpoint, I like a lot of what they did in the offseason. I think there's multiple teams that we've seen, Auburn, LSU, where it's clear that they needed to add talent. They know it's an important year. They added quite a bit of talent. I think it hinges, this is obvious, but I think it hinges on Jackson Arnold. Talking to some different, people around the league, there was some, I don't want to say surprise, but maybe some question marks that people that I talked to today that Hugh Freeze would really kind of bet his tenure on Jackson Arnold. There's some things that you can like about him, some things that maybe didn't go so well. There are some other guys who, people I've talked to in the SEC that thought, that might have been a better fit than maybe betting on Arnold. But, that's what they're doing. And, that first game against Baylor is really important. Got to win that game early on and try to get some momentum. And then, Alabama's really kind of the flip in terms of recruiting at a really high level right now, building up momentum. It's kind of similar, I think, to a offseason a year ago where everyone was super excited. Felt like Kalen DeBoer was doing everything right leading into that first season. Then, of course, there were some disappointments along the way, losses to Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and on. And so I think there's positive momentum, but there's going to be some, let's see it on the field. And, they've got some early tests, Florida State, Wisconsin early on, and then, of course, Georgia at the end of September. So we'll see pretty early on, I think, what this team is, but there's a lot to like. They didn't lose anything in the most recent transfer portal. I've been a Ty Simpson believer for a while. I think he's going to be good this year. I think he fits what they want to do better. So I'm pretty bullish on both of those teams, to be honest. I like Alabama better than Auburn at this point, but I think that they both should, take leaps from where they were a year ago. Easier for Auburn, given how poorly they played, but I think both of them should improve from what we saw a year ago.
Certainly feels like both teams are taking a step up. I'm starting to get real behind both of them. Granted, we live it every day, we talk it every day, so there's always reasons to find belief. But man, I am bullish right now on both heading into the year. Who's the team that's getting a little too much love this year? Because there's always that team that's kind of the off-season darling, and then toe meets leather, and they're kind of back to reality. Is there a team right now in the SEC that jumps out to you?
I think Florida is getting a lot of love. I mean, I like DJ Lagway, but again, if you look at what their schedule was, it's the same that it was a year ago, where everybody thought it was the hardest schedule ever, and people were just hoping that he would even get to 6 wins. Like, I think that's completely flipped on him in terms of it was all about just get to 6 wins, get to a bowl game, and now there's real pressure on Billy Napier, and I think that's going to be a unique challenge. And then the other one, I've been a Brian Kelly believer for a while, but everything on paper, you think this should be a playoff team. But I don't know. There just has always felt something a little off about Baton Rouge and what they've been doing. And so I'm a little skeptical of that one. I think everybody's putting them in their playoff right now. And if you look, again, on paper, Garrett Nussmeier, the wide receivers they added, it all adds up. It absolutely should happen. But they've just lost so many games over the years that you just feel like they shouldn't have. And they have another, critical game week 1 against Clemson. Like, if LSU loses another game like that, what happens to the rest of their season? So those are the ones that I'm kind of eyeing, where a lot of people have them in their playoff. I understand the arguments for both of them. LSU in particular should make the playoff, but there's just some things that have felt off about that culture in the past that I've heard from people that you just wonder a little bit whether it actually will be greater than the sum of the parts this season.
Hey, John, great stuff. Thanks for hopping on this morning. Always appreciate the insight, and we'll see you in Atlanta next week.
Sounds good. Appreciate you guys.
All right, there you go. John Talty writes for CBS Sports, college football reporter. Great insight on Wisconsin, where they're headed offensively. And if people are looking for jewelry, Greg, we know exactly where they should head.
Well, that'd be Bromberg's. Bromberg's the very best. They've been in business for nearly 200 years, and it's truly amazing just what kind of deals you can get when you walk in the door at Bromberg's in Mountain Brook Village and at the Summit. They have priceless pieces of fine jewelry, gold, silver, platinum, raw diamonds, natural diamonds, you name it, they got it. It's the absolute best. Highly recommend you go and checking out brombergs.com, checking out the inventory, visiting with their sales staff when you walk in the door at the Summit and at Mountain Brook Village. It's Bromberg's, as I sit right next to the Kansas Jayhawk right now. Cole, I know you can't probably see on the YouTube page, but we're rocking and rolling here at Big 12 Media Days. Kansas Jayhawks going to go buy some jewelry for sure at Bromberg's, no doubt.
All right, we'll finish up with that next right here on Mac and Cube in the morning. Is this Skycat or what?
You can't tell?
No, I don't.
Doesn't sound like Korean ladies?
You never know.
Oh, it's Breaking Benjamin.
Welcome back in McElroy and Cubelic in the morning. Greg live at Big 12 Media Days. If you missed any of the podcasts from today, Barry Tramel joined us to talk Oklahoma. Bud Elliott talk Auburn and college football. John Solti, Wisconsin and other college football. JoxFM.com or the Jox app. Just go get that in your app store. You can always tune into those there. We're going to move on to our bad box score of the day here in just a moment. But first, Greg, if you're looking to move out of your home, who should you call?
That'd be Crocker Moving Services. They're a local company owned by an Iraq War veteran, Eric Crocker. Crocker believes in hiring movers you can trust to complete full background checks and run drug tests on every single employee. These are good guys. You can trust them in your home. Whether they need your whole home packed up and moved, your company headquarters moved across country, or you just want them to come rearrange your living room, these guys got you covered. They also do deliveries for furniture that you've purchased and need to get to your home. So call and visit them online today for a free quote. The website's crockermovingservices.com. That's crockermovingservices.com. Support your veterans by choosing Crocker Moving Services for your next move.
All right, so you probably know where we're going. We mentioned it last week. I did attempt to stream some of the Elf football leagues over the weekend. I was able to get one for a little while, but the stream wasn't great. The view wasn't exceptional, but I did stick with it for a few minutes. So they're there.
Nice, okay.
They're available. EuropeanLeague.football is where you can go watch it. Unfortunately, the Helvetic.
The Army.
No.
Helvetic Heroes.
Mercenaries did not notch their first win of the season. They moved to 0-6 as the Paris.
The Croissants.
No.
Fire.
Musketeers get to 5-2 on the season with a 62-0 victory.
Woo.
Wait, what?
62-0. 4 quarters of football.
62 Goose.
62 points. No points for the opposition. Your differential in first downs, 19 for Paris, 3 for Helvetic. Your third down efficiency for Helvetic was 1 for 13.
Helvetic, oh my gosh.
You could actually add being 0 for 5 on fourth down to that, and they were 1 for 18 on conversion downs. It's not ideal.
Ugh.
It's not exactly where you want to go. Your total yardage differential, 402 to 71.
It's like more than a double up.
Well, they were out past 172 to 55, which you know means the rushing numbers were 242 to 36.
Oh.
Helvetic did not reach the red zone. Paris, 6 for 6 in the red zone.
Expected more out of you, Helvetic.
It happens.
Well, not to that extent.
It's also,
Very often it does not.
situational. The gaps, the margins are so thin. It's all situational football there in the Elf League.
For Helvetic, Jay Norwood goes 9 of 21 passing, 55 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. He was sacked 3 times. Not the best.
Less than once a quarter.
It's not the
solid.
best. For Paris, however, Jay Henderson, 9 of 13, 119, 2 touchdowns, no picks. Tekedem would come in and go 7 of 10 for 53 yards.
Yeah, take that.
No touchdowns, no interceptions. So that is your bad box score of the day. Before we get out of here, Greg, tell our listeners about Chenora Flooring.
Well, Fu and his company has been doing such a great job in the community for such a long time. They've been able to acquire a ton of inventory in stock, 40,000 square feet of Core-Tech flooring that you can go and see and experience for yourself before you decide to make an order. And you can get a nice deal right now at Core-Tech flooring. You can get $10 off per box if you go and order it today. And if you want to go in a different direction, they have plenty of other options for you. Highly recommend going and checking out Chenora Flooring online by going to fooandyou.com. That's fooandyou.com. They can do 12 months financing, and they can do an incredible job of taking care of your home. It's a big job, so leave it to nobody other that you would trust, and that would be Fu and his guys at Chenora Flooring. So fooandyou.com to learn more.
All right, tomorrow you're back at Big 12 Media Days, correct? Day 2?
I'm back. Yeah, I'm back. Day 2, day
Yeah.
1 underway here in about 30 minutes on ESPN Plus. Let's dial it up.
There you go.
And the U. It's on ESPN
Oh,
U
on
too.
the U.
Yeah.
We're on the U. Let's
Yes.
ride.
There you go. All right, Greg back from Dallas tomorrow. Frisco tomorrow. We'll be back talking college football tomorrow, but 3-man front is coming at you next.